Hello, 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 hello. Let's go into CatCam and MeCam. Wonderful good evening, or good afternoon, or whatever it is, for you guys. I quickly mute the audio, or at least make it a little bit more quiet. So, I don't expect many people to show up because this is the first stream on the YouTube channel. I streamed the other two regions live from another channel. And also, like, this will be a recast, right? So we won't have any live commentary, so to say, but more so live casting of an event that got streamed yesterday in Spanish. Also, a huge shout out to the Latam community. It's always nice to have streams. Only downside is it was not in English. So this is also the chance for me to give you some English commentary. And also the goal is basically to make single videos out of this. I can use this for two things, basically. First, to improve my casting skills, because I might be a caster in this season as well for some events. I will announce it when time is due. Also, hello, Cutter25. Welcome to the stream. Nice. So I need to sharpen my skills a little bit. I don't need this, by the way. So this is why I am thinking about improving that. And I also think like it's great content, and it's content that's also currently lacking on YouTube at the moment. I feel like we have a lot of videos with gameplay, but either you have music in the background or you hear the players play the game, but they play it in a well, how do I say it? They play it in a very loud atmosphere, and you can't really hear what they're going through. Plus, it's not really commentary, right? I know there's also some people on YouTube who try to do commentary of the gameplay, but I'm still not satisfied with the quality. This is why I'm taking like the streams that are out there and also recasting that and uploading that as individual videos. I love to listen to you in large events. Thank you very much. I take this as a compliment. Thank you very much. Thing is, I only did 3 events so far, so there's still lots of improvements to make and lots of events to cast. Also, it's very difficult to cast events, actually, because usually Bandai has its casters, right? We all know Damien from The Lookout. Shout out to him. He does Masters casting for, I think even prior to his birth, he already did like casting for Masters, right? And as a person who is new, it's pretty difficult to get into casting. You have to be lucky to know a TO or get a question asked like, hey, do you want to do it? Because for I don't know what reason. And I liked it a lot, actually, like doing these No Heroes casting streams when Green Boo was still quite dominant in the meta. Also, there are cats in the background. You can see them here trying to go. No, other way around. Yeah, cute cat content. So like I said, today we will have 4 hours of streaming. I'll come directly off work. So I just arrived home, make me something to eat, put on the stream, and now here casting for you guys, or recasting at least. We will see how far I'll make it in these first 4 hours. I saw that the stream is 10 hours and 30 minutes long. However, I expect there also to be a lot of off time and breaks in between the games because of deck checks for the top cut, or because games were done quick, and we just see how far we can get, right? I'll also try to look on the stream. So whenever I look like there is my OBS, and there is the game. So most of the time, I'll probably look in this direction for casting, but sometimes I also look in this direction to interact with you guys and see if anything happened there. That being said, I don't know what won the event yet. I'll probably know when we will end it. I just skipped into some of those matchups yesterday and today and thought this was pretty interesting. So, yeah, this will be fun. What I also won't be doing is taking their music and voices, because then we have Spanish guys mumbling in the background and then me also mumbling in the foreground. This is not cool. Also very important to mention, all I'm doing here is in accordance to the Bandai official guidelines, which basically mean I am not allowed to have a sponsor on the stream. Yay. It's not like I have any anyway. I am also not allowed to do a few other things. I'm allowed actually to have ads running, which is interesting if I would be so big that I could run ads. I'm just not allowed to have sponsors, basically. And also, I'll put a link once this live stream is done down in the description of this video, because it will also be up on the channel. Where I'll also have the letter from Bandai that basically tells you what to do with official content of them. As well as the link to the original stream, and also shout out to, I think they're called Sangyang Events, who organized the event, the regional, yesterday. So without further ado, we will now go into browser and cam. No. Gameplay? No. Only monitor. Let's go with only monitor. I don't think you need to see me, because I also don't want to cover any space. So you don't even see me. So all the mumbling was without a reasoning. I'll cut off the music, pop, as you can see, so you won't hear any music. And I will just begin casting right now. I also don't think, I mean, maybe I should open up, let's do it right here. Maybe I should also open up something for myself. This is wrong. Where is it? There. And then like this. And then we have myself. Then we have the official stream. Okay, now I'm basically ready. Just made sure that I have another browser open on the other side so I can quickly look up cards in case I don't know them by heart. But I think Brian versus Son Goku should be okay. But still, just in case. Alright, then we'll start with the first game. So for the first game of the Latam regional, we are having Red Kid Ku against Brian de Chateau, an interesting black leader that is not playing based on overrun strategies, but more so based on, free playing basically stuff with the Z Extra they're playing. And we're already seeing that there is a first energy being charged from U2. There is a 1-drop being played, which leads to a top 5 search for Universe 2, I think for Maiden Squadron card, right? And here on the right side, we have Marcelo taking the negate. Also interesting, there already was a burst, I think, with the super combos. We haven't seen this before yet. And he takes the SCR, he puts it in ward, which is really, really nice. So the opponent already knows, oh shit, I'm really fucked here. Also, this is a really interesting matchup because I know that in Ribrian there is a card that is able to warp the skillers from drop. So if Marcelo plays this card, and Pablo is not paying attention, we could see Pablo's skillless cards being warped for all eternity, which makes his deck obviously a lot weaker. At least his counterplay becomes a lot less relevant, right? Which could be a huge problem. So we see basically the turn 1 play, the pass, then we see the leader ability. So we're taking Alive and we're putting a skillless to the drop, which Marcelo will probably warp once he found the corresponding 2-drop. And when he plays the Z Extra next turn, that he still has the opportunity to free play a 2-drop after Awakening. So this might be the case. And there we see the 3-drop. We see a skillless Son Goku. No Earthling. I mean, why should you play Earthlings after Bunny Gold Bulma was hit? After the deck ran that Rampant a while ago. And there we also have a turn 1 play, which is the 1-drop Goku. Very, very interesting. We do the top 5 search here, looking for maybe a skillless card, maybe the Chaozu. There is a Chaozu. But I don't think that the Chaozu actually makes sense here. So, like I said, if Marcelo plays this right, then chances are high Pablo will never be able to play a skillless, at least from his drop. And therefore, Chaozu won't be that relevant because you can't play any skills from a drop of Chaozu anyway. Then we see the leader swing for just the draw 1, going to 15, already having the Z energy later on for the Z Extra. So he can awaken with that the next turn, going down to 4. However, I think that Marcelo will put out a little bit of pressure to make it at least a little bit punishing or force Pablo to play the other red Z Extra. But let's see what we're doing. So we're charging the 2-drop Ribrian, which already tells me that he might have another copy in hand because this is one of those cards you want to play in your opponent's turn for being able to have a 5k push for the turn. So we have the draw 2, we have the 4-drop Bribrian and drop, and then we're paying 1 and 1 for support. Broadcast here. That means he is able to awaken now, going down to 6, drawing 2 cards, and now he's basically the ability to, once per turn, free play 1 card. He points at the Z Extra, but the Z Extra is just the evolve card, basically. So he can free play the 2 drops, as long as he sends like 2 other cards from his drop to his warp. 2 maiden cards. He swings with leader first to draw another card. Also, I feel like this is one of the most beautiful alt art leaders Bandai has done for a while, right? U2 is not known for having nice to look card, right? It's more like a Sailor Moon reference Toriyama did there. Like a little bit sketchy, a little bit jokily done. But I like the fact that Bandai still choose this artwork for the alt art leader. The exact moment the 3 U2 heroines transformed into their, you could call them ugly fighting forms, whatever. And there we have the first effect. We're playing the 2-drop, and I think this is the card I talked about. This is the warp card, right? Yes. And there we see the skill is being warp, which is very, very annoying for Pablo and could cause problems later on because the Chaozu he has in his hand and he searched with the 1-drop Goku won't be as relevant as he hopes in this matchup. And there we see the 10k swing into lead, which makes sense because Pablo is still not awakened yet, so he goes down to 5 lives. And the question now is, will he play the Z Extra with the Holy Water? I think it's Holy Water, right? Was it called Holy Water? Godly Water? Or will he play the other red Z Extra, but then being not able to awaken? He can still awaken because he could take a life now, but he does not seem to take the life, so he just puts the Skillless into his drop. There we see an Ox King. And then I think he will play the water then. And then awaken, because Kitku only awakens when lives is 4 or less by drawing 2, I think. If I remember correctly, that is. Like I said, I want to do this as alive as possible, so there won't be any optimal casting solution. Also, I have a chat here for everybody who watches afterwards on YouTube. And there we see the Holy Water putting 2 cards under it, which is a Skillless and something else, which is okay. So worst case scenario is when actually there is a secret stuck under the Z Extra. And this is why it's very, very important for Kitku to, when you're looking through your deck for the Skillless and to drop stuff, that you pay attention if your SCR is in your deck. If not, and you don't have it in hand, it's high risk to play the Z Extra, because to resolve the Z Extra, right, to crack it basically, you need to be able to put the cards under it back to your life. And with an SCR, it's basically the case that it would get removed from the game. So this is why you can't really crack the Z Extra at that point. Then we see Pablo playing one of the best Reds cards that they printed throughout the last few sets, with is the SS Trunks being able to on-play and on-swing either Z-charge a card from drop or put a card from your deck into your drop. And what is really interesting here, he has an Android Skillless in his deck, telling me that he's either playing the Super 17 playline or that he's doing something else with androids as well in here. Because I know at a specific point in time there was a way on how to play it. Now we see very interesting negate. I don't see that often. Basically, it's a negate that says negate the attack, then warp up to 4 cost. I think this is meant, or this is a very smart idea from Marcello to get rid of potentially tokens, because I also know that Kitku is sometimes played with the new Gotenks card. Because as we see here, Kitku is able to play Skillesses from his Z deck for free, and with Gotenks on board, this would be 1 token, and then once the Skillless swings, it's another token. And Marcello can just react with such a negate, warping all the tokens and also 4 cost, which is a really, really good idea. So nice side deck choice. I figure it's a side deck choice. Here we see the Skillless swing. Going through Marcello, we combo to 25. Pablo thinking about Z-charging it or not. He Z-charges it, and then he passes. So we know that Pablo now has 2 Skillless in his drop. However, there is no 30k card in play, so Chaozu is still useless. And if Marcello found another copy of the 2-cast Su-Ross, we can see maybe another 1 or 2 Skillless being warped as soon as the free play comes into action, right? Marcello thinking about what to do. Maybe it's the right time to evolve now. Maybe it's the right time to play another 2-drop. I think we saw another Ross in his hand. I think he's currently having it and considering playing it. He's looking at the board. He should have the 2 cards in his drop to actually play those cards. But he's still thinking maybe he swings first, chances are high that there will be an explosive dance immediately after he swung. So chances are high that this turn won't be as long as he expects. So the question is, how can he get optimal value out of this play? And he really thinks like how to do this, right? So he has just 3 cards in his drop, and he decides to warp 2 from drop to play another copy of potentially Suros. At least I figure, yes, he plays Suros, being able to warp more cards from his opponent's drop. So there goes the Android 18. And there goes the Ox King, because he's able to warp 2 cards from drop. And we can say in Pablo's face that he's really annoyed by that, because Chaozu gets useless. And if the Android 18 was indeed used to set up Super 17, it gets more difficult now, because he needs to find another Android, put it into drop, then swing with the 17 duo, then combo with them, combo with the 18, and then being able to play Super 17. So this is really, really annoying. Maybe Pablo just plays it because he thinks, why not? Could also be the case, right? But it doesn't make sense to not play the Android playline because it's not searchable off of the one-drop Goku, for example, right? So Marcelo's still trying to think. He's pretty sure that he'll get hit with an explosive. At least this is what I would suggest now. So swinging into them, just seeing what the thing is here might be a good idea, as he does. And then we can see Pablo already having an explosive dance in hand, thinking like, is this the right choice, or do I still keep on holding this explosive dance maybe until a later turn? Maybe I can do something different, like Scouter, for example, but we see him using the marker, reacting with an explosive dance, which basically means that Marcelo's turn might be very, very difficult now. He still has 3 open energies. He swings with leader first, he draws 2, warps 1 from hand. I mean, he's still able to play a lot of cards, but I don't see Marcelo comboing very, very high here. So he's using leader ability, I think, to put 1 from warp into drop here. Or I think it's the support card. Yeah, there we see Pablo using the Broly, a card you should expect when you're playing against Kid Ku, because they like it a lot, right? The combination of Explosive Dance and the green Broly is just too strong to basically deny your whole opponent's turn. And then we see Pablo comboing another card. And he puts the card next to his Z deck. I think this is like a Bandai directive here, that it's clearly visible and maybe better visible also for the stream. I mean, I don't see it better that way. I was more happy with the layout before, but whatever suits Bandai's boat or shoes, right? So Pablo's still thinking what to do, and yeah, I think that's the right play. Playing the 8-drop Vegito, warping the Skillers, because now Pablo has the problem that while his drop is already pretty much gone, he can't really play battle cards, so he needs to play Unison-centric now. I would think he might be able to play Jiren Unison or the Android, what is it, 13 Z Unison. Both being able to apply 2 swings, getting rid a little bit of the board at least, because there are not many cards in Pablo's drops. And as I suggested, he goes into the Z deck. Interesting. I don't see what he has there. So there are 2 more skills. There is the, I think it's the Power Wish Unison that is not being able to attack. Don't know if that is the right choice though. And then we have another Z extra, and he pays 2 and 2? Does he play the Power Wish Unison now? He does play the Power Wish Unison now. This is interesting. These cards are not able to attack. This card is just basically minusing, I think. It also has a Floodgate effect, which will never come up probably in this game. He'll uptick 2, so he minuses something. Probably the Suros. Yeah, probably Suros. So Suros is gone. There won't be any Evolve shenanigans here. But this also means Marcello has at least 2 more Maidens in his drop again to do another free play in the next Activate Battle step. Pablo thinking about what to do next. Still thinking about, okay, now I at least have 4 cards in my drop, being able to play a battle card again. He swings with leader first, potentially, just to see another card. Just leaving it at 15. I think this leader doesn't even draw on swing, right? Doesn't it draw on swing? Did I miss it? Oh, and there we see the other card, which is basically a floodgate for a single card he chooses. However, Pablo don't have any battle cards, doesn't have any battle cards on the field. So it's just used for a free play, for a draw, and for a combo. So basically, a pseudo combo piece that kind of gives him another card in hand, which is okay. It's not good, it's not bad, it's something, you know, if he can't do anything else or if he doesn't want to spend his energy to directly evolve on top of it, this is completely understandable. Pablo thinking about what to do next. He has one more Z energy, but he already has his Unison and a Z extra in place, so it probably doesn't make sense to play another card. Also, it seems like he can't really get rid of that SS4 Vegito, meaning Pablo's first swing next turn could be a 35k double strike, which will probably get punished again by an explosive dance if Pablo found one, maybe also by something different. Pablo really thinking about what to do next. He could still play a skillless card from his Z deck or hand. However, he needs to then warp 3 cards from his drop. I'm not sure if he really wants to do it. I mean, they're just like, I think it's an explosive, the counter, one cost something else. Yeah, and he plays the skillless, thinking about what cards maybe to warp. He decides for the explosive, the Broly, and the counter card, so that leaves the 1-drop Goku in drop. He draws 1 card due to the leader ability, and now he's able to swing another kind with 20k into lead as he does. Marcelo's still on 5 lives, so he's not really pressured here. He's able to take the hit, but there's also still 1 energy open, so maybe Marcelo also react with another thing, trying to negate the swing, trying to not even take it because we have the energy anyway, and he reacts with Ribrianne negate, which basically also means that the next support is free, and yeah, there we see the effect to putting 1 card from his drop, playing the Ceros in rest mode again, warping another card from Pablo's drop, which is really annoying from him, right? So no cards in drop. Pablo's not really able to play anything else here. I think this will just be a pass, and yeah, it is just a pass. We see Marcello drawing a card for the turn. I feel like he's very much in the driving seat right now. He has all the cards in this hand he needs. Pablo wasn't able to do anything. He needed to play a Unison just to get Z energy into his drop to play off his skillless. The Unison not really doing anything. I mean, he was getting rid of a 2 cost, but it would have been way better to have an Android 13 or a Jiren Z Unison. However, Pablo is also understandable that he might need that open energy to respond with an explosive. However, he does not have an explosive, but instead he responds with a Scouter targeting the 1-drop and the 8-drop? Why not the leader, though? I would have targeted the leader at least, so that I kind of forced them to swing into my Unison, and not into my elite directly, because the 1-drop doesn't really do anything. Maybe Pablo doesn't realize that he could also choose his leader, and there we see another floodgate being thrown out with imposing presence, basically minusing the first card. So his leader goes back to 5, he combos the 8-drop and the 1-drop, maybe not realizing that he could still swing into Unison and skillless with them, just not into leader. So this is something I noticed already, that many people don't know actually how Scouter works. Scouter doesn't say you can't attack with these cards. Scouter just says you can't attack leaders with this card. So basically still giving you the opportunity to swing into everything else. And basically could have just used Vegito at least to rip 2 markers off the Z Unison. But maybe he also wants that Z energy as he's currently collecting it. We already see like, what, 4 Z energy next to his Z deck? I'm not really sure there. At least 1 35k card. So explosive, even thrown in the next turn, might not be as effective anymore as Pablo hopes it to be. So Marcello thinking about maybe doing an evolve skill. We haven't seen the effect once to play a 4-drop on top of a 2-drop. So maybe we see it this turn. He goes for 1 energy for the best barrier removal in black now, which basically has the ability for a burst 2 to warp one of your opponent's card as, oh no, for the burst 2 on swing, exactly like that, for the burst 2 on swing to give a card a 5k push, as well as playing a Maiden's card, which is really cool, right? And then we see the free play of the Maiden's cards on swing. The Ribrianne also giving a push to something, and he gave it to the 2-cost Ribrianne twice, which basically means that he will most likely evolve on top, because it's then a 20k double strike, which would go up to, or even 25k, and then 35k double strike for 1. So we see Pablo like using his Z extra to get the cards back to his hand. Very interesting choice that early on, but as he's on 4 energy, everything he needs now is life anyway, so no need maybe to have it anymore, especially not if you're not expecting explosive dance to do anything, or if you don't have an explosive hand in hand anyway, right? So he's now playing Sheila Unison. Very interesting choice here. Potentially he hasn't found a 4-drop. No, there's a 4-drop in his drop. So he looks for top 3. But he doesn't really seem satisfied. What was he looking for? He already found the secret. He already has a 4-drop there. So what is he going to look for? Or is it just that he had a counter play in his hand and he wants to play defensively already? I'm not really sure on that play there, but maybe we'll get an explanation soon as he thinks about what to do, shuffling through his cards in his drop, figuring if the 4-drop might be the right play or not, if it would be a good idea to play it or not, maybe hold one more open, maybe free play a 2-drop from his hand, as he's still able to do this because the other 2-drop was played by the 4-drop on swing ability to burst 2 and then play one from hand. Thing is now, which card really does something here, right? So he warps 1 to do the top 2 search here. Doesn't seem like he find anything he's really satisfied with, which still gives him a problem. And then he warps 2 to play the 2-drop. There's no target to hit, but at least another card to draw. And he seems to be happy with what he found. At least he can now use the 4-drop from his warp to evolve on top of it with the support broadcast. And now he has a huge swing coming in, also warping on swing, which is really, really huge. Taking off 1 dice because of the imposing presence. So it's not a 35k double strike, but it should be 25k double strike. Because if I remember correctly, the Ribrianne is a 25k base. Yes, she is. So this is like a 30k double strike coming in. Then on swing, we have the ability to place 2 Maiden's cards from your warp at the bottom of your deck. And then also like choose one of your opponent's battle cards and send it to its owner's warp. As he does not do that, but he makes sure that he has still enough cards in deck. So this is the reason why he does it. And there we see Pablo reacting with a super combo here. Goku being a 20k base because he used the Z extra. So now at 30 as well. So this makes like 1 more card or 2 more cards now to get out of that swing. So maybe another super combo would already be enough because we have a 35k swing. This would just be fair. We need 1 more. And there it is, right? I think I just saw the Reddit super combo in his hand. And yeah, he used it. I mean, why not use it, right? You don't make a minus in hand. You see a couple of new cards that maybe also determine how you play the next turn. It seems like Marcello is also not able to play the Vegito Floodgate anymore because he just has 1 energy open. That means that Pablo is a little bit more free in how he approaches the next turn, being able to play more battle cards the next turn without needing to warp 3 every time from his drop, which is really, really nice. So Marcello thinking what to do. He seems to pass as he puts the dice off of his Ribrianne and Pablo untapping all of his cards. He draws 1 for the turn. We also, interestingly enough, see Gotenks in his energy area. Very, very interesting there. So Marcello sided correctly with the counter attack that warps all the token. There we see Pablo charging the 6-drop Janemba that disables all of our opponent's keyword skills and gives them minus 5k for every keyword they have on the card. A card very good against matchups that heavily rely on blockers. I also heard red players talking about those cards when thinking about Bulma as a potential answer for the whole blocker bullshit that Bulma puts out, especially if you're a red deck that doesn't go all in turn 2 or turn 3, right? So Pablo's still thinking about what to do now. He +2 to get rid of the 4-cost Ribrianne, which is nice. He looks again into his C-deck. I mean, he's still able to play now the 2-drop for free again. Marcello still with the energy open, kind of threatening Pablo to not play the Gotenks, because maybe the tokens are useless, right? Maybe the moment he swings with the 2-cost and he has the token and he has the Gotenks on play, the tokens already get warped. He decides to play the 2-cost Skillless, drawing another card due to the leader effect, and still thinking about, how do I approach this now? And I think we saw like 2 explosive dances already. So it could be the case that Pablo's still thinking about playing the other red Z extra. And as we know, Marcello already has quite a lot of power in his Z energy. We see the SS4 Vegito on the bottom of the screen, as well as another 10k body, I think it is. So Marcello should still be able to do quite a lot of swings, even if Pablo decides to play Z extra and throwing explosive afterwards. And I think Pablo knows that as well. So he tries to swing 20k into Ribrianne lead. Interestingly enough, there was no counterplay from Marcello, no striking weak point, even though he played Chile with 2 markers on it. So maybe that card either was bait, or he's still waiting for the right card to hit, as Marcello just takes the hit. No combo from Pablo, no combo from Marcello, just taking the hit, going down to 4 life, which means depending on the super combo Marcello is playing, now it's live 100%. And I think we saw already one Helles in his warp when the game started, at least when the stream started. So chances are high that he just plays a playset of that. We can see the 4-drop Goku being played, getting rid of another 2-cost, so no evolve shenanigans here. Also like a barrier blocker that is able to restand the first time you combo, and we see him swing at the leader with 20k. Let's see how Marcello reacts here. I mean, he probably wants to deny this swing, right? But then he has another swing with the Kid Ku leader being able to combo there as well, restanding the Goku, either being able to do another swing, or what could also be the case, just leave it open as a barrier blocker. But then again, Pablo probably also knows that Marcello will play his Evil Saiyan next turn, as we see Marcello warping 2 maidens from his drop, playing the 2-drop Bros, drawing another card, forcing Pablo to warp 2 cards from his drop again, which is very, very annoying. But then we're still at 15. And there we see 25, so basically just -1 in hand from Marcello, also indicating that he probably hasn't found another super combo yet, right? Which is very interesting and important for Pablo to know, because if he can push through this turn, Marcello might not be able to respond to a lot of things anymore. He still has 1 energy open, yes, but we don't know the negate that's getting at, right? So we do a 1-drop being played, very interesting, grabbing another barrier blocker here. Maybe the 1-drop indicating that Pablo was hoping to find the 5-cost we already saw at the side of the stream, thinking about maybe evolving it on top. There we see a little bit of discussion happening, like, okay, no, maybe I don't grab this, but I grab the 3-drop. Here you see it, I already found it, I can take it. And Marcello being like, yeah, whatever, I think it's fine, whatever, do it. The 3-drop basically gives a skillless crit if comboed. When the deck came out, many people thought this was one of the craziest cards because of that. Reminded them a lot about Red Sin. Turned out it was rarely played. In the beginning, it was played a little bit, but it was not a must-have card. The bigger problem was Bunny Girl Bulma and the leader ability being able to also neg unisons. Then when we had the combo of Chao Zu and a 30k in play, you couldn't play any unisons against them with just 1 marker, since they were immediately killed without the chance of your opponent to really interact into that. So we see now the negate being played. So this is like the last energy Marcello is using, and he's now thinking about, again, discarding a card and then playing a 2-drop from his warp and rest mode, getting another effect on. Maybe the 5k push from the Ribrianne if he found another one, a 2-drop, just for the bean effect. Yeah, that might be the case. At least he puts it in front of his deck, but then he decides to go for another one. No, he puts the Ribrianne into play, drawing another card, beaning a card by 5k, which is herself and the leader. And then Pablo now thinking, okay, what I can do, how many energies I'm sacrificing. And yeah, he's paying 1 and 1 probably for the Z extra. I mean, explosive is the best he can do. He's still at 4 lives. He gives Marcello basically the task to, hey, if you want to swing high, you always need to put high stuff away, right? And as we saw Marcello comboing 2 cards and not Z-charging the 8-drop Vegito, this is also kind of like a missed opportunity of him, right? He could have expected that, so maybe it would have been smarter to Z-charge the 8-drop Vegito instead of the 2-drop, if he even Z-charged the 2-drop. I didn't saw that and didn't pay attention. We see Marcello now charging the power burst. Maybe he was also not really... Oh, we see an overarm 6. Interesting. For the Crimson Mask, forcing our opponent to warp 1 card from hand. Pablo thinking about it. I mean, we see him having 2 explosives here. I would probably go for an explosive as he goes for the 3-cost Yamcha. Very, very... Tien, very, very interesting here. Maybe he doesn't want his opponent to believe that he has an explosive, but it wouldn't have changed a thing as Marcello swings with a battle card anyway, because, I mean, what else do you expect against a red player playing as the extra right before passing the turn with still 1 energy open? On swing, we see the ability of Ribrianne to put 2 cards from Warp under the deck again to get rid of the 1-cost card that is still being able to be comboed. So, again, Pablo lost a little bit of value here as we see Marcello tapping another 2 energy for the SCR, warping the barrier blocker, looking through his lives, saying like, no, 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 I don't want to take this yet. Maybe you have something better there. And I'm pretty sure he has, because, you know, there is a skillless in there, and the skillless have 30k. So why not just take the skillless, right? As Pablo reads the card again to make sure that he's allowed to pick whatever from his warp, and not just the card. He just warped from the field. So we see Marcello shuffling the lives, putting it back, and now Pablo is in big, 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 big trouble. We see Marcello having at least 4 cards in his Z energy, which are right at the bottom of the screen, next to the beautiful Zamasus and Goku Black Sleeves, as we see him swinging with the leader first, which is 20k base at the moment. Pablo thinking about reacting with another Floodgate, as he does with an Imposing, followed by Explosive. And here is an interesting FAQ for you guys, because now we have the funny interaction of Explosive and Imposing being live at the same time. So how can we do this? Basically, a big question that always occurs is, am I able to swing with a 20k card, even though I just have 15k in my Z energy, because I'm under Imposing and Explosive? The answer is no, because at the time you're swinging at your opponent, you need to be able to pay the full cost already. Basically meaning, even if you're just swinging with 15k, because your 20k card gets minus by 5, you still need before at least 20k power in your Z energy. Even if you then just put 15k away, right? Very important to know for you guys, for ruling, because this is often a complicated ruling. It was brought up again by the SS4 Vegito Floodgate in the question of, what do I do when I want to play a Z card? Do I need those cards in the drop before? Is the Z energy enough if it goes to drop then? And basically there it came up again, the whole argument about when do I need to pay cost for what? And am I allowed to also play cost partly or not, or whatever. So we see a few cards from the warp. And he's thinking about what to do with them. I completely missed what was happening right now, because I was so involved into kind of giving a lessons on how to pay costs for floodgates and what happens when you have multiple costs. I think he uses his C extra to make the swing as tall as possible, like getting rid of all of the cards for a huge, 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 huge push there. This is like the effect everybody forgets about the Z extra, that you are able to make one final swing very, 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 very big, which is really, really annoying. So they're currently discussing about cards, about power. The judge is maybe also questioning the Z extra and what it does. Maybe ask him to please put it there. And then he's counting cards again. So see, I have the Z extra with 2, 4, 6, 8. 8 cards, because it's probably 8 main cards, and for every 2 cards he has something there. Then we see a card being comboed, so he does 2 different stacks, and I think this is the moment where he goes all in. We see, I think the, oh, no, 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 this is not, this is, my friend. Hell is easy put to drop, draw 2. But I doesn't think it matters here, as Pablo is revealing his hand, saying like, buddy, I was not even able to play my SCR because he was warping all my cards from your drop. So shout out to Marcello for really, really well piloting this matchup, showing how difficult it is for Kitku to actually play against Black, because Black is able to remove your tokens now easily, even if you spam them, as well as having the ability to warp your drop, especially prominent in Ribrianne. So yeah, this was the first game I casted. My cat is kind of exploring the sheets under the sofa, as I will go into a very quick break trying to refresh myself, and we will see each other in 5 more minutes. So probably at around like 5:43, something like this. If you have any feedback for the casting, especially like the first game, please do it. And yeah, then we will go into the second game once I am back. See you in a minute, guys. Hello, hello, hello. We're back with some more cat content. Okay, she's just laying down here being like, you know what? Work on the whole day. Oh, my mic. Huh. Oh, hä? Hello, hello, hello. Okay, sometimes my mic doesn't seem to work anymore, which is kind of concerning, to be honest. Not really good. Huh. Oh, hä? And I don't get why. Maybe I need to get a new cable. La 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 la. I don't know. Maybe also my PC is kind of getting cracked. So my cat decided, you know what? You were working for the whole day trying to get cat food. So now you have to cuddle with me. And I'm sitting here like, help. So we will now go into the second game. I still have to go to the right position. Oh, this is the Monaka game. I looked into that. This is Monaka against Yellow Broly. This will be very, very, very interesting. All right. We'll go into that. Thank you, Darian, for your lovely comment. So, we will then go into... Was it this? No. Was it this? No. Was it this? Yes, this was this. Like I said, there won't be... Oh, man hört sich. Yeah. I was just testing. Everything works. Nice. So we will just go into that now. Oh, you heard me all the time. So maybe then my OBS was just like figuring around. So we are now going into the second match of yesterday's regional. Like I said, once again, this stream, this recasting. 1 second. Cat. This recasting is done in accordance to the official Bandai guidelines. I will link them down in the description once the stream is over. Also, shout out to Sangyang Games, who made this regional possible and who also made this. Why is it not? It's weird. Okay. I need to get a new cable, I figure. So shout out to Sangyang Games. We will just now start with the next game. So we have Big Iron Broly versus the one and only Nippleman Monaka. Two decks rarely seen in any events. And I have to say, I don't like Monaka. When the deck got announced, I was looking at the deck and was like, okay, it doesn't do anything special. It's basically not doing anything interesting. Like, there's nothing. This microphone is really weird. So, talking about Monaka, the deck is really not doing anything special for blue, at least. So let's talk about what the deck really does. So basically, you have a field card, and with this field card, you're able to do a really, really strange loop. Something blue does a lot. So you're able to play. So the loop is the following: you're playing a 1-cost Monaka. you're swapping a 1-cost Monarcha for a 9-cost Monarcha, which is a Beerus. And then with your conflict, you are able to put that Beerus to your hand again. So choose up to 1 blue card with Beerus in its character name. And the next time you activate the skill, activate main skill, reduce the skill cost by 1. So you're basically playing them for free. And then you do a weird loop with the Beerus and the Goku and the Krillin Z Unison, basically saying like, okay, now swap is 1 more cheap, and we put our Gokus from our energy under the conflict, and then at the end of the turn, we get that energy basically back, and it's weird. We will see the loop probably a few times here, as we're trying to understand it. Big Iron Broly, on the contrary, really simple deck. You want to tap out every turn. That's the deck. Because then your leader is 25k base, basically, which is very good in today's meta still. You're not able to then, however, play with Floodgates, which might be a bummer for most Dragon Ball Masters players. However, if you're from Fusion World, this is the deck for you to play, because no interaction required, no timings to hit, all good. Let's go. And both are 1-0, by the way, which is very, very interesting. So we see the 1-drop Monarcha being played, Monarcha an unexpected reunion, basically a top 5 search for Son Goku Monarcha or God card, as he does another search with his leader ability, looking for another Monarcha 1-drop, which is a new SR Blue God. Basically, it's a concept rare mini, you could call it. It's also a card that negates the attack, but it draws 1, or it does not negate the attack, but it draws 1, as well as redirecting the attack towards Monarcha himself, and then Monarcha can't be KO'd for the turn, which is kind of cool because you basically negate an attack without negating it. So if you want to do activate battle shenanigans, you can still do it. As we see here, Eric playing the Z Unison, being able to awaken, and there we see the weird loop. We're taking a Goku from our energy onto our conflict card, and then we basically make the next swap 1 cheaper, so we're swapping this one into this one for free. This is a wonderful SPR. I really, really like this artwork, and I think Bandai still outdo themselves with these lovely artworks. This is basically just a card with barrier, and basically for 1 energy, if your opponent has 2 or more energy, you can choose one of his battle card, place it at the bottom of his deck, and then you can play 1 Goku with an energy cost of 2 from your energy or from under conflict in your battle area. If you do, place this card under conflict in your battle area and switch your leader to active mode. So basically, this is the loop I was talking about. It's really, really weird. It's really interesting. You're looping around a lot. But it doesn't seem like he want to do that yet. At least he's swinging with the 4-drop Boo now, as he has a Z card in play, which being the Z Unison, being able to combo a card from free from his drop, Z charging that Monarcha, swinging with leader again, which is now a 20k swing due to Beerus probably. And then swinging with Beerus again for another, not because of the Beerus effect, but because of the leader ability itself, being able to beam the leader once Beerus card is played. I think that's the loop, right? So let's look at the leader again. It states like, when your battle card is returned to your hand by one of your skills, choose up to 1 of your blue cards with Beerus in its character name, and it gets 5k power for the turn. So the moment he swapped basically the Monarcha for the Beerus, he was able to give his leader a push. And yeah, as we see, he's not really doing the thing, but he's putting the card from under the conflict card back into his energy in active mode. Let me see if it really works that way. The end of the turn, at 1 blue Sengoku card or 1 blue Beerus card, in its character name from under this card to your energy. Yes, it works like that. And it's even in active mode, which is really, really good, right? Because in theory, you can tap out every turn, and you can be pretty sure that you get that energy back. No matter if you're using the Goku to actually play him with the Beerus ability for 1, which I'm not a huge fan of, because the Gokus just have like 5k power, barrier blocker, and the other one is a critical blocker. 2 costs. But it's possibly still a good way to make sure to untap every time, as we see Jose playing Unison of Fury. Very, very annoying for Eric, because all of his swap targets are 9 costs, and I don't think we will see him going to 9 energy here. Also from the chat, the funny thing is, the Beerus is you can 1 OPT to not tuck him under conflict, and still just act main and bottom deck another battle. Yeah, that's really good because it's up to, right? Let's read that Beerus again together so we know our stuff. Choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, place it at the bottom of a deck. Additionally, you may blah, 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 blah. So for 1 energy, you can still do all of this without needing a Goku anywhere, which is really, really good. So we see the negate basically redirecting the attack to the Monaka 1-drop, which is also even more interesting now, right? Because we can see that Eric can easily swap now without needing to sacrifice another energy on his turn to play another card. And I don't think Jose has any measures here to really get rid of that Monaka, because yellow is good at killing stuff, like KOing stuff, but Monaka can't be KO'd that matchup. So here we see the yellow Janemba being played. Very interesting card, drawing 1, also being able to KO rest mode card. Now we see the Broly ability being forced here. So now he's able to play another Fierce Foe card with an energy cost of 2 or less from his hand for free by also gaining a 10k push now until he's out-tapped, because he untapped with the first card he played basically, or he out-tapped with the first card he played. And I think judges are like currently figuring out the order of autos, as it would be completely up to Jose how he does it, by the way. So still thinking like, what order do I process that? Do I first do the Janemba auto or the Broly auto? Or maybe also the judges kind of confused. I don't know who was judging that event. I just know that for Masters, like, we don't have many good judges. In Europe, we have a ton of good judges. In America, probably as well, right? We have Charles there, we have Fash there, and probably other great people. But I don't know how it is for other places and how willing are judges to travel each time to those big events. They're probably good judges, right? But still, there could come up questions for such a complicated game, how Dragon Ball Masters is, right? Because it's constantly evolving, constantly having new interactions. I mean, in the next set, we're getting a leader that is basically able to do swaps as an activate battle steps, which, and I'm 100% sure about this, will force another question, or at least some questions, right? So we don't really know what Masters is evolving right now, also with the new multicolor stuff coming up. So now we have to figure out the thing. So we're drawing 1 off Broly. So we're basically saying like, look, I have 2 energy, so I'm allowed to play a Fierce Foe card with an energy cost 2 or less from my hand for free. And now we do the Janemba effect. I don't think he wants to play a card because he hasn't found anything, but he's swinging with the Janemba card now. Into what exactly? I haven't seen that. Maybe at lead? I'm not sure about this part. I'm also not quite sure why the 4-drop Boo is untapped, by the way. Didn't he swing with it? And it's not a card that switches back to active mode at the end of the turn, right? So maybe I missed another interaction somewhere. Maybe the conflict card does that. Maybe another card does that. As I haven't played Monaka a lot, I'm really interested on which card was able to restand the 4-drop Boo, which is really interesting to me. So chat, if you know why, feel free. Oh, I found it. It's a +2 from credit. If your leader is Monaka, the strongest fighter, choose up to one of your blue card. Choose up to 1 blue card in your battle area, switch it to active mode, and that card can't attack for the turn. Very smart choice to include the 4-drop Boo then, because it's able to block again, Z-charging again, or comboing again from drop if there would be another card. And here we see Eric throwing down the East Kai to draw a card and to punish every play Jose is doing in our opponent's turn. We see a 1-drop being played, but even more interesting, East Kai is a god card, so our leader will immediately trigger, drawing us another card, which is really, really good value here. So really good 1-drop actually in this deck. Also because most decks also tend to play in our opponent's turn, something like black decks a lot by using all their free negates, then also like blue decks obviously. Red also does this sometimes at least, and there we see the next swap. We see another 9-drop Beerus. It's the same one already being on the board present. So there goes another push for our leader because of the swap, because we got another card back to hand, as we see Eric's side of the board kinda exploding. And to be honest, guys, this kinda wants me to make play to this. I need to learn my proper English, right? I kinda wanna play Monaka now because it looks actually better than I expected. Not gonna lie here, being able to out-tap every turn, getting 1 energy back, no matter if you're playing the Goku or not, right? It's really interesting being able to go into the 1-drop Monaka as a negate, being able to draw another card off of leader, so plussing 1 in hand every time with that Monaka negate really seems like a good thing here. As we are swinging with the Unison, with the leader as well. Sadly enough, the 9-drops aren't really able to attack, but there goes Eric playing another Monaka, which is a top 5 search for a Son Goku, a God card, and I think for another Monaka card, right? Should be like this at least. So Eric looks at his top 5 cards, considering what he's going to do. I'm honest here. I think he should get rid of the Unison as soon as possible. And there we see Rosé. Also very interesting card. It's a God card, so it's searchable. And with Eric playing the 4-drop Boo, he assembles a lot of Z energy quickly. So Rosé is actually kinda a cheeky choice in here, right? It's not a bad choice at all. But the question still is Eric able to get rid of the Unison of Fury? Because if not, it will also cripple his next turn, which is pretty annoying. So he uses the conflict effect. Or the Beerus effect? No, he discarded 1. He puts Beerus then under the conflict card, and then takes Goku out of the conflict cards, plays the Goku. This should be the critical that restands your leader. I think it is, right? The good one. Yeah, in your battle area and switch dress mode, switch this card to active mode. When this card is switched. No, it's the other one? Or did the conflict switch our leader? You can really tell I'm not knowing the fucking deck. This is really annoying me. So guys, this is something that also comes up in casting, right? Where you're faced with like decks. I mean, blue is my color, right? Decks you wish you know, but you don't really know them. And this is really annoying. And then you constantly have to pull up Deck Planet to also give a good commentary. But I'm being as honest as I can be here. I don't know how he switched his leader to active mode. Maybe with the Krillin effect, but then Monaka's not able to swing anymore? I'm really not sure here. If I missed it, please chat tell me. I'm inexperienced with the Monaka deck, and I quickly need to learn it and get my stuff together. Maybe it was of the Krillin, because I think the Krillin is the card that restands. Choose 1 blue card in your battle area, switch it. No, in your battle area. This could not be the case. How was he switched? Was it the Beerus 9-drop? That's really annoying from me. I can't figure it out. That's great. Okay, maybe I'll do edit. Basically want to charge a Goku every turn. Yeah, that's correct. You always want to charge a Goku, leave them in your energy, put them back to your energy as well, right? I mean, this time he will probably put the Beerus from under the conflict card into his energy untapped. But also, like he showed, you don't need to play the Goku at all. You can just leave it there forever. The Goku restands himself. Yeah, but why? So the 9-drop switches the leader to active? Because I'm pretty sure he already swung with leader. I know that the Goku is able to restand himself, that this is a thing. But I'm not really sure on how the other card was able to restand. Let's read Conflict again. Discard 1 card from your hand. Choose up to 1 blue card with Beerus in its character name from your battle area. Okay, and then we read the 9-drop Beerus again. Your opponent has 2 or more energy. Choose one of your opponent's battle cards. Place it at the bottom of its owner's deck. Additionally, you may play 1 blue Son Goku card with an energy cost of 2 from your energy or from under conflict in your battle area. If you do, place this card and switch your leader to active mode. I'm a fucking stupid being. I can't read cards. I'm a professional trading card game caster, guys. And, you know, you can tell by my reading skills. It's good. Yeah. So we see the turn being passed. Eric was able to get rid of Unison of Fury. However, we see Jose just answering with another Unison of Fury, which is so fucking annoying for Eric here, as he slams down another barrier or indestructible blocker even, which is even more annoying for Eric, because blue is not known for its indestructible removal. And this is also why I'm really excited about the next set, because we might see blue getting some multicolor combination. Also, fun fact, Sleepy Beerus is pay 1 bottom deck something at its worst. Yes. I mean, it's good, but paying 1 for 1 removal, I mean, it's nice if you want to do that. It's cute, right? I would probably wish for better stuff, but it's still better than nothing. There we see the Monaka negate again being played, redirecting the attack to the Monaka. Then Vegeta swinging into lead probably. Or just switching him to rest mode, I guess. So he activated this effect, and then he just switches himself to rest mode, and then we see the pass. And you can pay 1 and fail to resolve the rest of the effect 10 times if you wanted. Yeah, you can basically use all of your energy to bottom deck everything, which is, I mean, kind of cool, but then again, would you do it, right? And do you ramp in this deck? Because it's not really a ramp deck, it's more like a do funny stuff deck, and then at the end of the turn, basically untap 1. This is what's happening with the whole deck. And the good thing is you can react to your opponent by playing the 1-drop Monaka, which is really, really cute. You also have, I think, the free negate. It's the Puar that looks like Beerus, but it's not. I think we see it in this drop. And there we see Eric playing another East Kai. So drawing one of the East Kai, drawing one of the leader because it's a God card, which is cool. I really like the East Kai inclusion. I have to say, this is like the best thing about Masters, that because we're not having a rotation, you can play such old card in those decks, and suddenly you see synergies that weren't there before, and East Kai is such a good card already, also receiving a reprint in the current wave, being able to bottom deck 1 card from your opponent's hand each time they play a card in your turn, which is great if you wouldn't play against Yellow. Because Yellow is not really known for playing a lot of cards, especially not Big Iron Broly. He just sits there like, well, I'm 25k base. You can't swing with anything high cost anyway, so yeah, I guess good luck, have fun. So Eric now also looking in his energy, he just has 1 Son Goku in his energy, which is not even a Son Goku, but a Son Goku BR. So this will kind of force the problem of his conflict card to restand in energy at the end of the turn. He's doing a Monaka, finally finding a Piccolo. Also interesting, we didn't see a single Vegeta or Piccolo once, and both of them are really good cards, being able to recycle so many 2-drop, also the 2-drop Gokus back to hand, which are desperately needed for them being able to charge them again in your energy, which couldn't have been done so far. So Eric could do this right now, but I don't see him tucking the Goku in his energy in his turn again, which is really a bummer, to be honest, there. So now, obviously, he thinks about doing stuff with the 2-cost Goku, because why not? I can do it. He is able to swing at least 1 card, right? So he swings with that into him, he goes 2 markers, he uses his ability, switching the conflict card to rest mode, restanding the Goku, also gaining a 5k push for the turn, which is great, which is cute. And then he swings another time into the Vegeta, Unison of Fury, getting rid of another marker if Jose lets it happen, as he lets it happen, and then he could just easily clear it, either with Unison or with leader, as he decides to go in with the leader. And Jose will just respond with, you know what, I have an indestructible blocker here that also restands on block. I know you're playing blue. I know you can't hurt me, so I will just block it. And then Eric is now kind of forced with, okay, what do I do now? I could still swing with the Krillin into the Unison. It will be blocked again, however. I'm just sitting at 3 energy right now, having already tucked probably 1 card under the conflict, right? So I'm not able to swing with a 4-drop as well, which is a bummer. And I feel like maybe he should have done the ability to tuck the card under the conflict card a little bit later in the game, or in the turn, and not yet, because his Boo is not able to swing. He could have swung with that. It's really annoying. He could still do something like try to swing with a 1 cost and then combo 3 cards into that, but that costs a lot of value, right? A lot of value, as he chooses to do the conflict ability, discarding 1 card from his hand, tucking a Monaka card under the conflict card, playing the 2-drop Goku, also being able to swing as he tries to swing into lead. This is the, I think it's the barrier blocker, right? That also restands, but isn't able to swing anymore. I think it was like this. Yeah, it's like barrier blocker, choose 1 conflict, switch it to rest mode, choose up to 1 of your cards, gets 5k power for the battle. He's not able to use that effect anymore, but at least he can apply a little bit of pressure as he +2s the conflict card, which is really interesting, meaning that he can use this effect now, again from the Goku, to restand the Goku. Or to at least give it a 5k push, right? As Jose is responding to that with the new Daima negate, like relatively new Daima negate, which is able to rest more cards as well. And he's thinking about what cards rest. He does it for life. He's thinking about this. So negate the attack, then choose up to 1, 2, one of your opponent's battle cards, switch to rest mode. Additionally, if your opponent has 5 or more cards in rest mode, choose up to one of your yellow battle cards or unison cards, and it gains blocker for the turn. Isn't really relevant because there's nothing in active mode at Jose's side of the field anymore. And there we see the Monarcha being switched to rest mode. Not really doing a lot here. Eric's still thinking about, okay, I think I need to clear this fucker. Maybe he's considering also hard casting. I see a 2-cost Goku in his hand. Maybe a hard cast of this might be a good idea, but then again, Jose still has the marker, and maybe there's also negate in that. Eric really thinking like, how can I do this? Showing how really, really stupid blue is, and that blue is basically really, really useless at the moment because blue doesn't have a lot of answer against your opponent. And interestingly enough, he uses the Beerus effect to play a super combo out of his energy, being a 2-cost card and able to swing, thinking with what he might swing. And I think this is the smarter choice, being able to then use the super combo for a cheeky +1 in his hand now, because he just bottom decks 1, draws 2. Very interesting play line. So this might be the reason why Eric was easily charging the super combo, because in this deck, with this kind of playline, it just becomes a +1 in hand. Very, very interesting playline. Very smart idea here, as we also see Hedgiak in Eric's hand, so being able to negate, and you'll probably get 1 energy back, so staying at 3 energy still, being able to use this SCR if in need. Very, very interesting playline. So we see him using the Goku effect, going up to 19 while also plussing 1 in hand by just sacking off an energy. Very, very interesting playline. I like that play a lot. This is why I love Masters so much. I just see a deck sometimes, I dislike it, and then I see people doing so crazy stuff with it. And there we see the energy from the conflict, the Beerus card being charged. So Eric passing the turn over with 2 open energies, hoping maybe being able to finally push some damage through. This being said, if Jose found his 3rd copy of Unison of Fury, this would annoy Eric a lot. And this is also one weakness of the Beerus deck, right? I mean, you could still play a counterplay with the Pan counterplay into an opponent's Floodgate, battle card Floodgate, like an Heroic Prospect, because you're forced to play this Unison anyway. But something really annoying like Unison of Fury can't really be stopped in blue easily. I mean, you could side in something like Baby, the one that is able to bottom deck a 2-cost or less Unison, if you're able to bottom deck another card from the field, which is possible with the 9-cost Beerus, but it's not easily done. It costs 2 energy total, so very cost intensive. And then the question is it just not cheaper to swing a lot of time actually into our opponent, as Jose is swinging into Eric, restanding Garlic Jr., the fucking indestructible blocker. I'm sorry for my words once again. And then tapping for energy for, oh my god, it's another Unison of Fury. As Eric sits there with an annoyed face, being like, oh god, why did I choose to play Monarcha today? Why do they have to be 9 costs? Why can't they just be like 5 costs, 4 costs, 3 costs, something at least? As he now needs to get rid of 4 markers again, trying to stall Jose out, trying to finally get rid of his cards as he free plays a Broly from his hand. I rarely see this card being played in Yellow Broly actually, but it is another free play, being able to again apply a little bit of pressure, being able to rest cards on play like his East Kai. Broly out tapping again, drawing for that, and now he's swinging with Unison of Fury into one of the East Kais, which is a really interesting choice. So that means that he tries to aim maybe for playing also cards in his opponent's turn, maybe a token negate, maybe a counterplay Vegeta, and he doesn't want to lose a lot of cards into that. So he swings again. I don't know into what actually. Could be leader now, could be something different, I'm not really sure. Maybe he's still thinking and what to swing. As Eric reacts again with, oh, a Rosé as an activate battle. He plays that card, it's a god card, so he should draw another one off of his leader ability, but first resolving the whole ability, bottom decking a 4-cost or less. The Broly, now the leader triggers, so he's able to draw another card, plussing 1 in hand with the Rosé play. Very, very interesting playline, and I really think that I need to give Monarcha a go, because this deck, even though heavily crippled by Unison of Fury, seems to be a lot of fun actually, and who knows, with a little bit of stuff, you can surprise your opponent by suddenly going in with a big hand size, right? as he's comboing to 25-30, getting out of the swing while also establishing a Rosé, which is able to hit next turn, as Eric is going to 4 energy again, which is really, really good. There we see an over M3 with the Supreme Kai, looking at the top 3 cards, being able to keep 1 card in hand. Very interesting overwhelm choice. And then I think he just bottom decks the other ones, right? Yeah, he bottom decks the other one. He takes the Hirudegarn, a very, very annoying card to play against. He swings another time 15k into the lead. I was the Brody player. I had the Golden Cuda SCR in hand, ready to slam it at turn 4, but my opponent stayed at 3 energy and was unable to play in that moment. That is really funny, actually. First of all, shout out to you. It's a nice game to watch. I'm happy that you're here. Awesome. Yeah, that was interesting. So he basically critted 2 energies, right? One is the usual stuff, and the other one to play out a super combo to kill your Unison of Fury. So basically, your Unison of Fury was the reason on why he went down 1 energy, so he was able to finally clear it, maybe. Going back to the game, we see a token negate being played. The board is full of stuff right now. Holy fucking shit. What is this mess? It's kind of scary if you're the yellow Brody player at the moment, but also at the same time, you know what? Half the cards are not even being able to attack, right? I mean, he now has a few 4 drops on the board. Rosé, Boo, also Unison of Leader able. There are 2 Gokus, one being able to restand, one being able to just swing into face. As he charged another 2-drop Goku, being able to do the cycle once again. But this time, he really needs to be careful, and he needs to definitely kill the Unison of Fury with his 4 drops. Because, yeah, I would swing with the 4 drops first before he crits one of his own energy again, because then they won't be able to swing anyway. So he swings first with the Boo, being able to Z-charge another card from his drop, which will be another 9-drop. So he goes up in Z-energy again, as Rosé just takes the hit on the Unison. I mean, there is no need to really do anything. If your opponent sacrifices that many swings into the Unison, then at least my leader is kind of safe, right? Even though my leader is 25k base, so maybe those swings would have gone anywhere anyway. As we see another Goku swing, we see the first block of the indestructible blocker here, as he restands on block, Goku ability being used, resting the conflict card, restanding the Goku, getting a 5k push for the turn, as he swings another time, probably with the Goku into Unison of Fury, forcing either another block or just the death of the 3rd Unison of Fury in a row, as Jose is thinking like, you know what, I will still block that. If you want to kill it, you have to really put effort into this, so please do it. As he's doing the +2 with Krillin now, or I think he already had 8 markers on it, right? Yeah, he had 8 markers on it. He swings again with Krillin, trying to finally get rid of that motherfucking 3rd Unison in a row. So he's talking at the moment like what happened and what he did. Kind of clarifying the game state at the moment as Jose is trying to think like, okay, what will I do or how do I need to combo? So Eric combos 1, killing the Unison finally, because Krillin is just 14k. Remember, guys, it's a blue card. Therefore, it has to be worse than every other color's Unison. This is really important. Not giving it 15k, because why should it able to apply pressure? No, make it 14k. Just because why not? Because playing 2 drops for free is already strong enough, right? Look at all those free plays with 15k. Very, very scary. We are not allowed to do this. As we're seeing another swap chain by the Beros, drawing 1 card. It's the first God card being played. This is again the 9-drop. This is able to bottom deck a card and play a conflict card or a Goku card from under our conflict card by putting himself under the conflict card. Then we swing with the Rosé, which is a 4 cost, so it's able to swing. As Jose is trying to think of, should I negate? Should I do anything here? His hand still looks really, really stacked at this point. So he's now using the Goku effect to give him a 5k push, which is now a 25k double swing, leaving it a 25k double, just forcing a card out of his hand. Super combo would be a waste, so Jose is trying to use Hirudegarn, now going to 3 Z energy, thinking about, do I need Z energy? Do I need cards in my drop? What do I really need? Eric going in with a 20k swing off leader, being beaten by the swap mechanic, returning 1 card from his hand, comboing 1 card from his hand. Oh, it's the Bardock. Really, really interesting choice, as he's able to now, for a Spirit Boost, to give him leader a 5k push after the battle, restanding him, so there will be another 25k swing coming in, as Krillin is also like at 10 markers. So just taking 2 markers off Monaka won't be a big just off Krillin won't be a big problem here as he resolves the effect, talking about how the resolution, putting it into drop, using the effect, Spirit Boost 2, restanding leader, negging all keywords and all abilities of the leader, and now having another 25k swing attempt into the yellow Broly, forcing another card out of Jose's hand here. Potentially also just staying at 25, because why should you use a super combo here, right? As he's using the Vegeta, probably the card he had in his hand earlier. This is also the reason why he potentially wanted to get rid of the East Kai, so he might be able to play this without being punished so hard. There we see Eric going into his CD deck, paying 1/1, probably for the extra here. At least this is what I have suggested, as I'm pretty sure he wants to do the Goku loop now, therefore resting the Goku energy, now being able to tuck this Goku energy onto his conflict card to play the loop as he's playing the first Monaka for the top 5 search, possibly going into the swap chain, or just looking for another Goku to maybe place into his energy. Wait, this guy cooked with Monaka. Yes, I agree, and I want to play this deck now. You can tell just by me wanting to play this deck now, and how I like certain decisions about his deck building, that it's really nice. I mean, Brody doesn't have a lot of removals, so don't let it fool you that you can build this board such easily. This is now the 5th turn the Monaka player is playing, but it's still such a great thing here, as we see the conflict effect, tucking our Beerus under the conflict card, and now playing the rested 2-drop Goku from under our conflict card. This is the card that is able to restand our leader. No, the 9-cost Beerus is the card that can restand our leader, now applying the 3rd leader swing in a row, which is crazy. I just wish that he would have done his other way around, basically first using the Beerus ability to restand the leader to get another draw. The leader isn't drawing anymore, right? Just quickly confirming, I think because of that shenanigans. No, it's not drawing anymore on swing. It's just draws when you play a God card. This is how you +1 with this deck in your hand. By playing other God cards that also draw and play, which is really, really nice. So there are few cards now on it. He's trying to think like, okay, what do I do? He's using the Krillin ability to potentially... Oh no, he's just passing, using one of his Beerus, restanding 1 energy. Remind you guys, Eric has a huge board. We just have 2 minutes and 10 seconds on the clock. This is not a lot, actually. Eric's board is stacked. And I think both players are on equal lives, that being 3. Oh, and there we see Golden Cooler being played. This is the thing Saisa was talking in the chat, Jose was talking in the chat, that he wanted to do this the turn prior with the marker. Now being able to finally do that, everything gets removed, basically. Everything gets warped. Everything is gone. Just the God cards are getting saved due to the Beerus effect, or the Monaka cards are getting saved due to the Beerus effect, which is very, very nice, the Monaka leader effect. But there seems to be some discussion in here. Quickly confirms, so basically, the Monaka leader says, if your blue Monaka card would be removed from a battle library by opponent's skill, return it to its owner's hand instead. Very, very interesting. So, Golden Cooler would warp those cards, they would go back to your hand, and then your opponent still needs to Z-charge until he has just 5 cards in his hand, right? Which basically means that they're currently discussing like how it is processed. Do they first return back to hand, or does he first need to discard cards? And the decision seems to be from the judge. This is very interesting. Just interested on what the judge decides, and then I will tell you what I would do in this situation. Because I think it more so comes down to how Cooler is worded, right? So for me, the correct play would be first take them back to hand, because Cooler first warps cards, so they go back to hand, and then he needs to discard. As he decides to, put a few cards in his Z energy, so we can see a few Gokus, a few Monakas, still having 5 cards in his hand, or considering what to put in his Z energy. As he puts also unexpected turn in his Z energy, I think he still has Hutch. So I don't think Golden Cooler can do a lot here, but now suddenly the tables have turned. Eric with a very, very small board here. So if both players stay on 3 lives now, this might be a huge problem actually for Eric all of a sudden, because he doesn't have a huge board. Jose still has this annoying dual indestructible blocker Blue isn't really able to do anything with, which is really, really annoying. Jose's thinking about responding with a Monarca as he does that. As the judge immediately is avoiding clusters. So he plays the Monarca, he draws a card, he draws another card. He thinks about comboing this card as well, just so that he can play it for one, because he has a Z card in play. So he plays that, which is another blocker. Opponent restands Golden Cooler by placing 2 of his opponent's Z energy back to his owner's drop, swinging another time with a 40k double into Eric. Eric now discarding 1 for the Hutch, ending Jose's aggressive turn here. Cooler still using his effect to get rid of a lot of Z energy here, at least like once. Fun fact, you can also use the Cooler ability to put another 2 Z energy away. Cooler doesn't need to be in rest mode for you to use this effect. So if your opponent has a multiple of 2 Z energy, you can just put 2 Z energy away, 2 Z energy away, 2 Z energy away every time until your opponent doesn't have Z energy anymore. Nice fun fact for you guys. You can just do this because restanding Cooler is not a condition for the whole effect, so you resolve as much as possible as if you can fulfill the condition, which is just like putting 2 Z energy from your opponent into their drop. So we see the top 5 search Monarca being played, which is basically draw 1 off leader. Oh no, it's not, because it's not a god card, but at least it's a top 5 search for a Monarca in a costume, which is a god card actually, because it can be swapped out, which is very, very great. So he shuffles his deck. He's currently looking at like, okay, what card can do what. The Broly triggers. The Broly says, if your leader is yellow, when an opponent's card is played, draw 1 card, choose up to 1 of your yellow Broly battle cards, switch it to active mode, then choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, or Unison's ignoring barrier and switch it to rest mode. So he rests the 4-drop Boo. So Eric not being able to combo anymore from drop on swing. He's still about what card he wants to swap as he swaps it for the card he just searched. He plays the card so he's able to draw a card off of leader. He's choosing the Golden Cooler. They are thinking about, does it still have barrier? No, so it shouldn't get warped but removed from game, but I don't think that Jose can do anything with his warp. So it should be okay to put it in warp, to not confuse the game state, even though I'm not a huge fan of doing that. Remove from game is something different than putting to the warp, right guys? But still it should be okay. Same with the Hellas from the last game, where it was not bottom deck draw 2, but put to drop draw 2, but as the game concluded immediately, didn't really matter at that point anymore. So Eric now with a huge board. What we see on top should be overtime, so there are just like 2 minutes and 20 seconds on the board. As Eric is playing the 5-drop Trunks, the only card in blue that is able to remove something, ignoring Indestructible, and as Eric is playing 9 cost, it can be bottom decked on swing, ignoring Indestructible, ignoring barrier, as Eric just implanes to Jose. So Jose is not really able to respond, as he's asking like, oh, does he do that on swing? And is currently considering like, okay, maybe I can stop the play. Maybe I have something in my hand to rest it immediately. The judge is also confirming like, okay, how is it going now? Am I still able to block with that? Am I not? And the answer should be no, because the on-swing auto from the turn player comes first. Therefore, blocker can't even be activated before the card is already bottom decked. It's nice that they're clarifying it here, but the SS2 Trunks should easily be able to get rid of the Indestructible blocker, which forces another problem for Jose, because he now loses like 2 potential blocks, as Eric will just continue going through his opponent or tearing through him with 9 drops, with the secret, with his leader being able to potentially restand twice, because does he have another Goku in his energy he can free play? I'm not sure about this, as the card shuffling in Eric's hand continues. So the card is bottom deck, the swing goes through. We're currently at a 20k crit swing. Eric just having like, what, 2 cards, 3 cards in hand? Thinking about, should he play the Rosé or not? Do I have even 3 Z energy? Doesn't make sense. Because remember, guys, Broly still is a 25k base leader. So every swing needs to count. Jose just has not many cards in his hand, as the clock is also going down. Just 40 seconds on the clock. He's tapping 1 and 2 and 3 for Z extra, tapping 1, gaining a 15k push, playing a token, drawing a card. I missed the token kinda here. There is the token, hopefully. There is the token. So it's a 35k crit swing at the moment, both being at 3 lives. This might potentially be the last swing of the game right now. He leaves it at 40k crit, but he should be able to win nonetheless, because the board state speaks a very, 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 very obvious language, which is Eric has a much more developed board, a way bigger board. So this is now time on time. And this should mean that Eric won the game by having a bigger board, bigger battle area. And I think the judge just calls time. He's counting lives. 3-3. More cards on board for Eric. This means that Eric won the game due to Hutch into Golden Cooler. GG. This was a very, very, very interesting game to watch. I really like that. I want to play Monaka now. This looked so much fun, guys. Holy shit. I didn't know that Monaka was able to do so many party tricks. Like the restanding one at the end of the turn is really great so that you don't get the energy back rested, as well as the potential Rosé play and Iskai play, plussing one in hand, right? And then being able to play the 1-drop Monaka in your opponent's turn, potentially on the last swing, so you can easily swap into your new card without wasting a potential energy. Also, your super combo is searchable because it's a god card, right? The Zeno, if you play Zeno. You could also play the Goku like we saw. This was also an amazing idea. Like playing the Goku BR card super combo, charging that early on, later on free playing that card, and then like using that card in the combo, bottom decking 1 draw 2, meaning you just made another +1 in hand, also saving your super combo from potential random hand destruction or something. I really like the deck. It's a blue deck. So obviously it's missing something at the moment. Hint, hint, D-Magic. But it's a really cool deck. And it seemed like a lot of fun. And maybe you could do something great out of it. I just feel like it could have the blue problem. Meaning that it's missing a little bit at the moment. But maybe Bandai fixes that in the future. We will go into a quick break. And maybe I'll then be back. And you know what? I might have a co-caster. We might have a co-caster soon. So see you guys in like 5 to 10 minutes. Hello, guys. We are back. As my cat is again trying to get snuggles, you can see her, but she's not the only one joining me for this lovely recast of the Latam regional from yesterday. Joe, welcome. It's I mean, it's a pleasure for me, to be honest, because I'm just starting casting and I'm already sitting here with a casting legend, having done so many great and awesome streams, and now asking me if you are basically allowed to join my recasting, which I think it should be the opposite way around, to be honest.
Tech guy. Like, I'm really good at yapping, but I need a tech guy. And you're like, I've got a stream set up over here.
Let's go.
I'm casting some games, and I'm like, mate, I would absolutely love to hop in and join you for a couple. I genuinely, I saw you post about it. I saw you say like, I'm going to be recasting some of the regionals. I saw your video, and I was like, Bastian gets it. He's got the passion for Masters. He's got the energy. And I thought, let's just test out if we're a duo.
Yeah.
That got me very excited. So here I am, ready to see how it goes. And of course, I've also not seen any of these Latin America games as well from the weekend. So it's a chance to dive into some Masters again.
Yes, which is very, very awesome. Also, we already have some guys in the chat like reaching out to you, like Mr. Revel, the handsome devil. So there seems to be some guys really excited for you being here. Also, please, guys in chat, tell me how balanced we are when it comes to loudness and stuff, because I'm not sure actually, and I can't really hear it myself. As we are diving into the next game, which will be at least one of the decks we already see quite a bit, but the other one being S's Blue Gogeta. Some say it might be the best blue deck besides Bulma. What is your opinion about that, Joe?
I mean, Bastian, I'd have to defer to you as the premium blue player out of the pair of us here, but like for me, I think Gogeta's got like kind of what blue needs at the moment, which is aggression,
Yeah.
basically in this format. I think like the blue strategy of old that probably like Kefla Surge, I'd say most recently has kind of typified, has been this like kind of like very control, very like kind of grind game. Get to the and it's like blue's been like this probably since like I started playing as well. It's been a very like grindy deck as a color. But kind of as the game's gone on, as like the game's got faster, more aggressive, kind of that color identity's kind of lagged behind until we've seen a couple of these more like defensive and aggressive blue decks, and like Gogeta and Blue Bulma in particular are kind of decks that fit that bill for me, where they don't get impacted too much by losing dim magic. They can still get very aggressive, and they've still got that kind of traditional untap defensive side to their game as well if they need it. So I think if you're going with blue, this is the direction, is my long answer to your question.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I feel like also, like, looking at this matchup, Eos is a deck that is typically a little bit slower. Like, the turn 2 is very slow. You want to use an extra card, do maybe 1 or 2 overrams, swing with leader once, and then using the last energy also for your opponent's turn for another extra. So if I would be Gogeta, I would try to hit her as hard as possible, as early as possible.
Exactly this. And this is like the game plan we're seeing from a lot of like high-end players when it comes to playing against like Eos and some of these like slower decks in particular, because you're absolutely spot on. Like Eos wants to go, let's have a little bit of a grindier game myself, even as like a black deck that traditionally in the game's history has been aggressive.
Yeah.
They've just gone, I want to just have a couple of turns off, chill, set up my drop, set up my warp, and then just overrun and start warping your hand and win the attrition game. Whereas Eos, like first couple of turns, is really going to struggle to defend if you see this like Gogeta chain start to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Also very interesting. I know that Gogeta is in theory being able, so if he goes second, right, in turn 2 to already establish his Z Unison, and I feel like playing a Z Unison into Eos is a very good idea here, because she can only mess with your battle cards, either petrifying them or punishing swings you're potentially doing with that. I don't know who won the dice roll as well, as no player plays down a marker at the moment.
we're yet to see an energy marker. And I also just want to point out, like, this is why we call you like the blue goat at the moment. Like, I think that knowing like already being able to like kind of spell out how this matchup's going to go, and like kind of noting like the if if Gogeta's going second, because like where you like first and second is so important, like,
Yeah.
and particularly when we had the energy marker come into the equation as
Yeah.
well. um, like being able to add to your aggressive plays and get that first swing against a deck like Eos that wants to go later feels so much more important than perhaps just going first, charging energy, playing a cantrip, and saying your turn.
Exactly. Also very interesting here. What we saw in Miguel's top 5 was a Toa Twisted Sister, so that might be a card he sided into the Gogeta matchup because Gogeta is able to union fuse from his drop by putting the card into his Z energy. So being able to mess a little bit with your opponent's drop might be a good call from the Eos player here.
Yeah, that's a really smart call out as well, Bastion. I think Toa Twisted Sister came out in like BT10,
Yeah.
and it's seen like a real resurgence since the days of Green Boo dominating the format. And I think players have still kind of got that like hangover from Green Blue, so Green Boo. So they're keeping it in their side deck, but it also has so many different like kind of you can side it into so many different matchups. Like, like I bet Miguel probably had this in his sideboard for another matchup, maybe fearing some more Green Boos. I think we're
Yeah.
all fearing Green Boo in our sleep at the moment, but
Yeah.
he kind of has it in his side deck still, and he's like, actually, you know what? I know this leader. I know it fuses from the warp. I'm keeping it in.
Yeah, exactly. Would be a really good choice. Also interesting, Miguel plays the cantrip Eos. Usually, I don't see it often, as in the game I recasted yesterday. The usual playline is turn 1, going for an extra card, just drawing 1, having a total of 3 cards in your drop already, so that your turn 2, you can already start with a Crimson Mass Saiyan if you're playing that correctly. Very interesting choice here. Also passing over, and then we see Jesus. I think he's Jesus. Just playing a Vegeta, grabbing the combo, which, by the way, fixed the deck on its own. It's crazy what this card is able to do.
Yeah, I absolutely love this card. So, anyone who doesn't know this, and it's come out in the recent TP run, is that when this card is added to your Z energy by your Gogeta BR skill, you can
Mm-hmm.
either place up one practicing fusion from your Z deck into the battle area, or reduce the auto skill on a practicing fusion in your battle area by 1. So, whenever you're fusing, you're just gonna be able to like send it from your drop to the Z energy. It goes via a Gogeta BR effect. You get those effects. But most importantly, activate main. If your leader is blue Gogeta, you discard this card from your hand, draw 1. And it's both
Yes.
Goku and Vegeta. So it just
Yes.
sets up your drop immediately. No questions asked, no energy restriction, no nothing. And filtering just for a card for free, that's, I don't know, in any card game, that's just good off the bat for like nothing.
Yeah, this card fixes like so many problems. You can establish the Z extra basically cheaper. You can give a card barrier, a Gogeta card, a 5-drop you're playing, not being able to be warped by a potential black counterplay. Um, and this is how you're also being able to play the Whis Unison turn 2 already, just because of that card. And the good thing is, you just need to see one. Because by using the Z energy, which you do a lot for the leader ability actually, and then fusing again, you can constantly recycle it and constantly gain the effects of that card.
Yeah, and that's just so well pointed out as well. Like the amount of things that just this one card facilitates for the deck, and you pointed out earlier as well, Bastion, about the Z Unison and like how
Mm-hmm.
it would be really important to play around Eos's um, kind of like battle card interaction in the extra cards as well. Like
Mm-hmm.
it is just such a like a important card to see early phases, and like it's just going to give him like so much play, especially when he's going into his next turn, where I'm expecting to see a good chunk of the aggression, especially if he's got the same read as us in this matchup where he wants to go fast and he wants to go hard.
Also, we see a very interesting sequencing here. So it seems like Miguel wasn't able to get 2 extra cards in his drop before awakening, so he needed to use one from hand, then being able to awaken, which forces him now, if he overrams, then to use another extra card to really benefit from his leader's backside, leaving him completely vulnerable for a potential turn 2 from Gogeta. And as we know, he can get quite aggressive with the free play new Gogeta, as well as the Z Unison and other stuff. So this might already be a crucial second turn for Jesus into Eos as soon as
I
Miguel
think
hands over.
Yeah, and I think this is perhaps one of the downsides that I kind of see to this one drop AOS here, because like traditionally what
Yeah,
you see from an AOS player is that extra card turn one, which then sets up the drop to have your extra cards already, and
yeah,
then you awaken and like whether having to spend that one energy on the AOS, it's like it's a nice cantrip, it's a nice searcher, etc. But like it means that you're not seeing that extra card used.
exactly.
And yeah, as you pointed out, you put him in. Now he's put himself in a quite vulnerable position.
I mean, he's still being able, because of the overwhelm now with the one drop on board, to place, I think, 3 cards back from his warp to his drop, setting up a potential next overwhelm, but he only gets wormhole when he activates another extra card, which is crucial. Also interesting, I don't see the one drop Eos being played in any deck yet, which is kind of interesting because it reads very generic. You can do a top 5 search for an overwhelm card, you're benefiting from overwhelming, but it just seems that black is so good at the moment that it doesn't even need such a good one drop.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because we're actually seeing a lot of the other EOS cards splashed into other decks as well. I'm
Yeah.
thinking about the 4 drop EOS and Cronoa that we've started seeing cropping up in like Black Panzino a lot of the
Yes.
time. Um, and so you're right, like it reads really well, especially if your like deck is centered around like Overrealm, which 9 times out of 10 a black deck is centered around
Yeah.
Overrealm. And it's just a really nice kind of turn one play, especially with a lot of black decks lacking that kind of turn one going first play. So maybe Miguel's going to kind of open the door for us here a little bit in terms of like show us why this one drop is so good and why we should be putting it in our black decks.
Yeah, I'm kind of questioning the choice, but I mean, I'm still being able to be convinced, right? So I'm open for some nice ideas. Also, what I want to point out, this is not a top table right now. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Both players have lost all of their 2 games right now. So I'm not expecting to see the best play lines we've ever seen so far, but more so like a really nice interaction of maybe some unique choices players did in their deck building and maybe some interesting sequencing we can comment on.
It's so interesting to me that you point that out as well. Like, very rarely do you see kind of like we go into round three and see 2 players that have lost both games. But
Yeah.
like, particularly, one thing with Masters at the moment, right, is that you have some smaller tournament sizes and so many good players. Like the kind of cream of the crop are at all these tournaments. There's so much like talent in the pool that of course some talented players are going to lose a couple of games in these tournaments because
Yeah.
not everybody can be in top 8.
Yeah.
So like yeah, I think it's a really like kind of cool idea to showcase perhaps a couple of like the lower down tables here on round three because you know you're not skipping out on having it's round 6 or 7 and we're looking at the top table and we've gone to table 80 or something like that.
Yeah.
But there's something really important here about kind of saying, you know what, we're still going to see some very interesting decks, some really interesting players down the tables, especially early on. And who knows, you might see one of Jesus or Miguel run it back with all of the wins from this point, and then we see them in top cut again.
Oh, that would be so cool, actually, if we later on have a game
Yeah.
with one of those two being on the stream table again. So, also interesting, Miguel really places the extra now, kind of explaining like what he can do with the extra, and then he's discarding another red hair card. Doing a top 5? From the Z extra effect. So he puts his Z energy away. He sees his secret rare already. Look at that beautiful golden card. Holy.
This card is absolutely insane as well. Like, not only does it look insane, but like in this deck in particular, as an SCR choice, it still holds up massively at the moment. So it's a Union Fusion for 2, you draw 2 cards, and obviously in this deck you can use your drop to complete the Union Fusion by Z charging. And then if your opponent has 3 or more energy, so it's going to be live from next turn for Jesus, you can add up to 2 cards from your Z energy to your hand, super combos, whatever you want it to be, you can add it. And then this card gains barrier, triple attack, and block it until the end of your opponent's turn.
Yeah.
And then at activate main battle, you choose it to one of your Gogeta BR cards, and it gets 10k power for the turn. So he and himself is a Gogeta BR card, so you can end up being a 50k triple attacker. You can give it to your leader as well if you need to push through, because one of the things that this blue Gogeta deck does really well is like leader aggression, because you have a built-in like dual attack on your leader effectively with its effect. So like being able to bump your leader and like aggress through floodgates, being able to just stick this SCR down and like choose whether you're going to go hyper aggressive or keep a barrier blocker live for your opponent's turn. It's such a good SCR. It's so clever.
Yeah, it's a really good one. I'm also kind of confused on what is happening right now, right here, because we saw him hard casting the Z Extra, which could be played for free if he Union fused before with the red hair duo. However, he then went for a Union fusion without Z charging the targets, and then went for another Union fusion. Oh, because he immediately put the Z cards out of his Z energy to give the new card barrier. So now the newly played 5-cost SS Gogeta without the winner stamp has barrier until the end of the turn. I don't think that's necessary, but I mean, it's nice. Why not? It puts out another body. I think this is like the main target of this, but it's still really sad that he needed to hardcast the Z Extra because now he's not able to play Whis for 2 energy anymore because he's just missing that 1 energy.
Yeah, exactly. Perhaps a bit of a misstep there from Hayes, especially when he's got that the Goku and Vegeta in the drop there. I really want to like point out this 5-drop with barrier that you've like you've mentioned here, Bastion, as well. I think this card is one of like the most nuts cards in the
Yeah.
deck from my perspective. Like you look at just the value that this one card generates. If any other archetype had this, they'd be like, "Oh my god, this has like blown my deck open." But
Yeah.
like it attacks and bottom decks a battle card unconditionally, and it's a 1 energy play the card. And then just as an activate main, because you're this leader and you've got this card, you discard 1 and draw 2. So it's
Yeah.
just like a simple like like he gains barrier as well, so you can just sit there and be like, right, okay, I'm gonna like pitch a card, draw 2. I've got him sat here in active mode, and you've got to deal with him. Otherwise, I'm just gonna keep on plussing over and over again, and I bottom deck a card on your board. So it's like multiple cards advantage. Like you bottom deck one of their cards, you plus 1. Are you going to clear it? You're not. Okay, that's unfortunate. I'm going to do it again next turn.
Yeah, exactly. Also, like the discard doesn't really hurt because you want your Gokus, you want your Vegeta BRs being in your
Yes,
drop. So it's not really like you're losing value. Instead, you're gaining value because you're already setting up the potential next Union Fusion.
absolutely. Um, I've got a question for you here, Bastian, and I'm
Yes.
wondering: is Gogeta doing the game plan at the moment? Do you feel like he is ahead? Do you feel like this is exactly the position where he wants to be? Is Eos in trouble, or is it? Are you seeing a bit more of a balance in the gameplay at the moment?
Yeah, so this is a really weird game right now because we could see Eos kinda missequencing her turn 2, but also Gogeta missequencing his turn 2. However, I still think that while the guys on the stream are kinda readjusting the leader a little bit, which was kind of funny for me to
Saw
see.
it dancing around the screen.
We see Jesus is still applying a lot of pressure, and his leader, we don't need to forget that, is able to swing twice. So he's swinging once now, he's drawing 1, and then since he has a Union Fusion card in play, he's able to restand the leader by putting 2 Z energy, I think it's 2 or 1, from a C energy to his drop again, setting up another potential Union Fusion. And this is exactly what I would do. So I would swing twice with the leader now, and then use my marker to at least play another target, like at least another fusion target, because we already know that potentially his other 2 Gogetas won't be able to do a lot next turn because they will most likely be petrified. I still
Yeah,
would
and
be
that's a
more happy if Whis would be on the board. I'm really honest about this, and I'm kind of mad about this sequence here a little bit. But it is what it is, and I think Jesus needs to apply a lot of pressure here still.
it's only the 3rd time you've mentioned it, Bastian.
Yeah.
I don't think you can tell that we're all. I can't think we can tell that you're upset by the Wii not being
Yeah,
on the
yeah, could be,
board.
could be, could be, could be.
But it like when you're watching these games, it's so different to being in it as well. So you kind of like you're watching this happen, and you're like, this could be so much more right now,
Yeah,
especially because we
yeah,
know this is what Gogeta wants to do. Like you mentioned it there. I want the 2 attacks from the leader. I want the energy marker used. Like you're the aggressor here, Jesus. I want to see you go for it. And that Whis we already pointed out at the beginning would be so important here
yeah,
because it plays around, next turn Eos just going double trigger times judgment on 2 of your guys, and all of a sudden you're in Eos's like the Eos vortex where half your battle cards can't swing. He's got enough negates to get out of other stuff. He's got enough cards in hand to combo out of the other swings, and he starts to temper the aggression at that point. But
yeah.
you really want to turn the corner before that starts happening. So you've only got an extra 2 or 3 life to punch through.
Mm-hmm. And I'm also being honest here, I'm even more mad at this play right now because this is the card that beans your leader. Like playing this before you swing twice with your leader forces your opponent to not only use one card to get out of the swing, but potentially two, or at least forces out a super combo. He kind of missed the opportunity, just played that card, did a 15k swing, forced the card out of Miguel's hand, and then at the end of the turn, he put that into drop to restand one. The question just is what he will do with the one energy, potentially a defending friends. I think it will be defending
Yeah,
friends, yeah.
and you want to know something, Bastion? If there was a Whis on the board, they'd be able to untap
Yeah,
another energy
exactly,
as well
exactly.
on top of this as well. So a defending friends alone can feel very underwhelming against Aos because it doesn't mind going, okay, you spent a card out of hand. I'm going to warp another two or even three, depending on how the dimensional transfers line up.
Exactly.
You don't mind doing that. Whereas a defending friends, then backed by another energy that you can, you can play the Vegeta Goku duo on your opponent's turn. You can gain 10k. You can draw a card. That all of a sudden feels a lot better if you're the blue Gogeta player.
100%. Also, it's and here we go with the ruling FAQ again. Eos has a very unique interaction into floodgates that are on battle cards. Basically, if you play the 6-drop Eos and you're swinging with that, and your opponent is responding with a floodgate that has an on-play effect, so something like Heroic Prospect, your autos as an Eos player come first. So what you can do is place Time Judgment from your warp into your drop, therefore drawing a card, choosing one of your cards, and negate the activation of skills. Therefore, Heroic Prospect can't trigger, and your opponent wasted an energy. So I feel like if Miguel would have known that maybe Defending Friends comes in, I would have played Eos just to potentially rip out that negate, or at least plus, or if your opponent doesn't respond with a negate, just use the scroll to give Eos double strike, applying a lot more pressure.
Really, really heads up call there as well. And I think those little like kind of QAs is what we sometimes miss, and it becomes quite an easy when you know that QA, when you know that's how that works, it becomes quite easy to kind of drop the 6-drop EOS first, and it's just like kind of logged in the back of your brain as a player, and you're like,
Yeah.
right, each turn I start with the EOS, I can block, and I know I'm playing against blue as well, and so I know there isn't an extra card floodgate that's gonna negate this and punish me from swinging. You know it's going to have to be like a hard cast defending friends, and if it's going to be a floodgate. So I think that's like a really nice bit of game knowledge that also goes with this like matchup as well. If you're Miguel there, so another great call, Bastion.
Thank you very much. As we see Miguel doing the typical Eos playline, trying to rip as many cards out of your opponent's hand as possible. We saw the Crimson Marseillan, we saw the Dimensional Transfer, playing the Piccolo, but also getting the Piccolo back to hand so we can annoy our opponent a potential third time with hand destruction with the second overwhelm for turn. As Miguel is thinking, no, actually, Jesus is thinking on how to defend that swing as he goes on with a how is it called? Ultra Instinct Kamehameha?
Ultra Instinct
Goku's
Kamehameha.
Kamehameha, yeah.
Goku's Kamehameha. A good old concept. I love that cards like this still end up having play as well, Bastion.
Yeah,
Like, I
it's
mean,
really
most
good.
of these concepts, these were perhaps the original concept rares, if you will,
Yeah,
of
yeah, they really are, yeah.
BT9. Like, they were like the first like iconic attack rares. That's what they were called. And yet these still hold up now. Like I've seen like Cell's Kamehameha, the green one is still used in
Yeah.
decks. I think, in fact, probably the only one which isn't that good anymore is the black one, the Majin Buu's major extinction attack or whatever it
Yeah.
might be. Black decks don't need a lot of help getting cards in the drop for overwhelm anymore in this economy.
Exactly. Sometimes we also see a Frieza's Death Ball as a one-off because it's just a 15k push, but also minus 10k on our opponent's leader being able for one energy to gain a 25k difference. Sometimes we see Final Flash. However, it's kind of fallen out of the meta due to other cards also being able to negate skills mid-battle or not having the need anymore to do this. And there we see like Defending Friends now being played into the Piccolo swing, so that should be live, and even if the Eos player wants to now respond with a 6-drop Eos, he has to drop one card from his hand, which also isn't that huge at the moment, which is interesting, because usually for both Gogeta and Eos, card size actually is quite high.
Yeah, it's a good point because I would expect it to be a lot more of like a grindy game when they're both sat at kind of this. You see it quite often where like both decks are sat at this sort of like 12 to 14 card hand point, and they're just poking at each other, trying to like kind of force a bit of an opening where they can like move past the floodgate to take advantage or whittle their opponent's hand down enough. Eos being fantastic at doing that, thanks to the
Yeah.
aforementioned annoying Namekian in black, the Piccolo.
Yeah.
Um, and the rose as well on top of it. But yeah, Gogeta's been able to keep a reasonable hand size for all the like
Yeah.
kind of hand hate, and Eos also has to like pass with two energy here. I think
Mm-hmm.
what I would point out here is this feels like the weakness of Eos at points. So you can do a couple of overwhelms, but you never really feel like you're using that energy. It all has to be kept in this like defensive capacity. I think it's a great call by Miguel here. Don't get me wrong, because I think he's noticed that he needs to freeze this board because he couldn't clear a lot of it. Um, but it, not being able to use that energy and be a more aggressive, I don't know. For me, kind of puts Eos on the back foot a little bit.
Yeah, it's really difficult. I mean, Eos probably knows that the SCR will come in, right? It's being able to be played if your opponent has 3 or more energy. Jesus will gain a lot of that. However, he hasn't also used a single super combo yet, so he's not able to recycle super combo to his hand, which is kinda bad. But still, he could play that, and then obviously Miguel needs to respond with something like Time Destruction, just to kinda at least punish the triple attack by forcing Jesus to warp 2 cards from hand every time. So the smartest thing Jesus can do, and he's doing it right now, first swing with the small stuff, forcing more cards, potentially extra cards from Miguel's hand, which could be hand destruction, but which also just could be a draw or something, and then maybe hope that Miguel doesn't have the answer for the SCR in hand right now.
Yeah, and I think I agree. I love what Jesus is doing here as well, because you can also start doing like the leader swings as part of this as well. Um, just keep on prodding until like Miguel either just has, like, as you see here at the minute, like Miguel's having to just combo 5Ks out of hand. It's not the
Yeah.
sexy plays that Eos normally gets up to, where it's like pinning your board down. It's like drawing two, like that kind of thing. It's dimensional transferring a bunch of guys in. Like Eos has to be really careful about when it uses those extra cards, because once your energy's gone, it's gone. Um, so I think Jesus spots this and is just like, I'm just going to keep on like, attacking with leader. I'm going to attack my little guys. You seem contemplating the two energy there as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder whether he is just going to stick with, I'd love to see a couple of leader swings here first and foremost, and just
Yeah,
keep on
exactly.
whittling those cards. See if you can force like a dimensional transfer on a tall swing. And then all of a sudden, you know that there's limited options with that one energy. He'll be fearing petrification here as well. Petrification being a
Mm-hmm.
huge answer to that SCR as well. So Jesus may not even want to go with the SCR this turn, knowing that he wants his opponent in a bit of a weaker spot before um, he walks his SCR into a petrification.
I could still see him doing this just by the fact that I don't expect Miguel to even play Petrification, because Time Judgment is basically serving a very, very similar purpose. However, it's not a counter attack timing, but an activate main/battle timing. So if Jesus would play the SCR and immediately use that effect to bean off his leader, he would at least see a few more cards. He would gain Z energies back to his hand, which would be very good. But as he's processing or progressing the turn right now, he's deciding to swing the first time with his lead, and I think now is the moment he wants to slap down the SCR. At least he's looking heavily at that.
You've seen him play with that two energy, like kind of on and off for like the last couple of actions on his turn.
Yeah.
He's like, it's glistening in his hand, and he's like, I need to play this down,
Mm-hmm.
but I do not want to get times judgmented.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like it has been really interesting to see. I like that he's gone with the leader and he's gone with the untap hero as well. Like I think this is like the right play to force a couple more resources,
Exactly.
force Miguel's hand a little bit more.
Exactly. You could also just think about playing the Whis right now and not playing the SCR yet, right? Because Miguel might also discard cards that he thinks he doesn't need for the SCR, then he'll be vulnerable to Whis. But we see the SCR now finally being played.
Mm.
So that will be a Z charge with 2 cards, also the red hairs one, making the Z extra ability again a little bit cheaper. However, since Miguel doesn't have a board established, there's no reason for him to kind of use the effect to gain rid of cards with the Z extra. So we just see the SCR. We see a lot of draws here. We see a recycle from the Z Energy, like getting 2 cards back. Probably a red haired card. Oh, the Defending Friends, also interesting choice as a defensive package here.
Yeah. Yeah, really nice, and a way to use that last energy as well there.
Yeah.
Hazer seems adamant that he's going to frustrate you for the rest of this cast, Bastion, because once again, he's not playing the Suisse
Yeah.
out whenever
He doesn't
you want
like
the
it.
Suisse playing.
I
He
already
doesn't
know.
like it.
Also, what you don't play in this deck is the 4-drop Freezer, because it's just such a bad card. And the moment he plays that under the extra, I was already like, oh no, you don't play this card, you're joking. Because it's just bad. I think it has really bad playing conditions. It costs a lot for the stuff it's doing. It doesn't have nice keywords. I think it's just able to like recycle one Gogeta BR and that's it. And the amount of things you need to pay for that, it's just too pricey for the value you're getting out of that.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, all the cards under this practicing fusion are making you feel a certain way at the moment, Bastion, aren't they?
Yeah. So there we see Time's Judgment from Miguel targeting the SCR. So the SCR is not able to attack or use any skills ignoring barrier until the end of Jesus' turns, which also means that Miguel in his turn needs to do Time Judgment again before he swings, because if he doesn't do that, Gogeta will again go to 25k base, because Jesus is then able to use the Activate Battle of his SCR once again. And I don't think that Miguel has an easy time clearing off that SCR. I don't know how much Z energy he has. Could be 2, then he could just play the S's for Gohan, but Eos doesn't have really much removal, and especially not barrier removal in her archetype.
No, and I also just want to point out here quickly as well that we could have had another swing from that Super Saiyan Gogeta there on the board as well, but like kind of a little bit of a
Yeah.
missequence because he walked
Yeah.
into the Time Judgment, and
Yeah.
that could have been like another 20k swing.
Exactly.
Now he might be quite adamant, like I want to just keep it in active mode so it can't be messed with, but for me, I would have been like, I want to see an extra swing. We pointed out at the beginning of the match, you're the aggressor here. We want to get as many attacks in as possible because the longer Eos has got to stabilize in this game, the more risk you are at losing.
Exactly. Even though it doesn't seem like Miguel has the hand advantage here, like looking as his hand, I think it was just 5 or 6 card, while Jesus' secret rare play into double leader swing just gained a huge plus in his hand. I mean, he's at what, like 11, 12 cards now again? Which is crazy.
I think that's one of the amazing things about this SCR as well, is like, even though you got it times judgmented, and you haven't had like the full value of the swings, that's what, draw 2 from playing the card and add 2 back from the Z energy. You're like a 4-card swing basically, just for putting the SCR on the board. So in that case, you're just like, okay, well, I'll put him on the board here. And, you know, as you mentioned earlier, Eos doesn't have an awful lot of removal. So
Yeah.
deal with him. You're going to have to play into me now and figure out a way that you're going to jump through hoops to remove this SCR and the Gogeta that's sat on the board discarding 1, drawing 2 every turn. You do something about this board while wanting to keep enough energy open to defend yourself next turn.
Also, talking about like really old cards, this Hellas super combo, I think from one of the draft boxes, is like one of the most expensive super combos at the moment, because so many decks that just came out are using this card. The Black Goku Black deck can run it, Eos can run it, and I think there were a couple of more in the last few years, or like 1 or 2 years, that were relevant decks. Yeah, Maidens, for example. It's just a crazy card at the moment. Just a good super combo.
Think it was out of the first Tournament of Power booster, which was the first time that Bandai did like a special booster outside of the BT sets, that Hellas came out in. Absolutely, like, just like, to think years and years later, we've finally seen this slew of great God cards,
Yeah.
God leader cards that you can use it with. And discard 1, draw 2 is perfect for a deck like an Eos, a Goku Black.
Yes.
It sets up your drop when you need your drop setting up, and seeing 2 extra cards as well. And you can discard anything as well. Like, I think we even see some play with like Green Zamasu as well. Like,
yeah, exactly.
A few sets back.
Yes, this was also the deck where the super combo was used. It's a green god card. It was searchable, like discarding your Goku Blacks you had in the hand for the Union Putara from the drop with the Zamasu from the field. It was just perfect. And now, really interesting, why did he switch this card to rest mode? Oh, because Miguel wasn't doing time judgment as an activate main, so he kinda missed the moment where he could disable the blocker ability. So that means that Jesus was able to block with that card. But I think Jesus also missed to give his leader a 10k push, which is really, really interesting. Like, what is happening
Whoa.
here?
What is happening here, Bastian?
So
Exactly that.
so
I
he
think
was no, it does make sense because the block no. So the block happens, then an activate battle, Miguel uses the time judgment, so Jesus can't use his activate battle afterwards to give his leader a 10k push. But still, I think it's a crucial miss from Miguel to waste one swing into the SCR.
yeah, because you're an activate main / battle as well.
Yeah,
So yeah, being able to like just shut down that Gogeta straight away, not have to mess around with the block as well. That's an extra damage you could push through, and like, a 25k swing is nothing to be scoffed at either. 25 into 40 is useless. You can't do anything with that.
yeah.
25 into 15 to pressure a life and waste cards in hand, absolutely that's worth doing. So yeah, absolutely. Even though it seems like a small misstep, it's a huge swing in terms of cards. That could be another 2, 3 cards from hand that Jesus might have had to commit, or an extra life he takes that puts him one step closer to losing this game.
Exactly. Also, I want to talk a little bit about the play Miguel just made. So he used an extra card for dimensional transfer. So that was -1 from his hand to play a Piccolo in rest mode from his warp. Piccolo basically says, hey, grab a 1-drop and then recycle or discard one so your opponent warps one. So essentially, Miguel made -1, but also Jesus made -1. And with the small hand size Miguel had, I don't know if this was the correct play, to be honest.
Tell me a bit more about that, Bastion. Why do you think it wasn't the correct play?
I mean, clearly we can see that Jesus kind of has like, what, like 8, 9, 10 cards in his hand, so warping one useless card is very easy for him, while Miguel really has to think like, what do I even discard here? I think he decided for a Koitsukai, if I look correctly, so it was okay for him, and grab back a Kai he can play when he uses an Overwhelm card from the field in the combo, and he has the Z extra established. However, that also means that Miguel just has now only one open energy. We can still see Jesus' secret being in play, so it didn't get removed, threatening another like 3 swings with 45k, or at least like a bean on the leader, as we see Jesus going in with the leader swing first. Very interesting choice. Drawing one card, hopefully using the SCR effect to bean the leader by 10k, because I'm pretty sure there will be time judgment coming in, negging 2 battle cards. And this is also something where I wanna be a little bit mean again. Why not swing it with the SCR first? Because you get the free swing at least. Let's use it. It's a 45k swing. Let's go.
Yeah, if you know that it's going to be time judgment, and this is where it comes to kind of like knowing what your opponent's deck is going to do, and those like reps before the regional really matter. Because if you know that
Yeah,
there's a times judgment waiting for you and you suspect it, even if your opponent hasn't got it, presume that they do. So,
exactly.
but if you presume that they do, you swing in that 8-drop. If they time judgment, you got free 40k out of it. If they don't, you're laughing because you've got another like couple of swings on the triple attack there that you can go with as well.
Oh yeah, but I was missing the fact I need to correct myself that time judgment was done in Miguel's turn, targeting the secret, so he can't even use the secret anymore. So my bad. I would still be happy if he would have swung with the battle cards that are still able to attack, because time judgment was just like choosing 2 cards. So I think like there would be at least one Gogeta currently at the board which is able to attack, and I still think that this swing would have been better than going with the leader first immediately.
Yeah, it's very similar sequence timing to, you know, attacking with your battle cards against yellow first because you might get Flying Nimbus. It's that kind of vibe, isn't it? Where your battle cards might be messed with.
Yeah.
So almost as like a basic fundamental, swinging with your battle cards first, unless the specific matchup needs you to do something else. Your leader swing for me is a precious resource in this game. So like it's unaffected by a lot of things. It can't be removed. It doesn't get impacted by a lot of floodgates. So treat your leader swing like a precious resource. And use your battle cards first. That's what they're there to do. Kind of poke and prod that hand out, establish your safety, and then use your leader afterwards to really gain some advantage.
Exactly, and we see now Miguel responding to the duo card being played. I'm not sure if the duo was played mid battle because I think the leader battle was already done and the duo card can only be played as an activate battle. So I'm kind of confused now what battle is currently going on. Maybe there was a small oopsie there when it comes to the
I see
timing
him
of playing the card.
I see him pointing to the leader, but I'm definitely like saw that kind of come down for the one energy without much going on. The leader and rest, but I wonder whether this is all happening on the leader swing, or perhaps he's played it down and then gone, well, actually, no, it needs to be an activate battle, so it's on this attack here.
Yeah, I think
Um,
so. I was just confused. I think because he used the super combo in this battle and we already put that super combo somewhere, I feel like. Or maybe
where
he
has
he
that super combo
looked for
gone?
something. Yeah, I don't know. So basically what we're seeing right now is Miguel responding to time destruction, targeting the other two cards that are currently not messed with by time judgment, punishing Jesus, so he needs to swap one card from his hand, or potentially two cards, if Miguel targeted both time the same card, to be able to swing, which is not a huge punishment for Jesus at the moment, to be honest, because his hand size still looks stacked. Also interesting to point out, Miguel is now out tapped. So potential 8-drop play with having 3 energy open by Jesus would mean like a big double strike, and I think Miguel is just at 3 lives, even though it looks in the upper right corner he's on 4 lives, but I'm not sure if that got corrected yet. Or if he's still on 4 life, I'm not sure.
I don't think the graphic's been updated because it's showing that they're both on like, oh yeah, because it's like 4 to 5. That
Yeah,
definitely looks like 3 to me as well.
yeah.
And you're right, like a tap out here. Yeah, the battle cards are kind of frozen down what we've got there at the moment from time destruction as well. Finally, I think that's the Whis entering play for you
Yes.
there as well at
Way too
long
late, by the
last.
way. Way too late. I'm still not happy with that play, but at least he's here now.
He's finally arrived late to the party on turn
Yes.
4,
Yes.
just when you normally see a four specified cost unison enter play. Whis has finally arrived, and this time it's not the 8-drop double striker that you were hoping it would be. This turn, it
Yeah.
seems that Jesus cannot please you no matter what he does, Bastion.
No, I'm not happy. I'm not happy. And it's not about him. It's maybe about me not fitting his playstyle. You know, maybe it's a me problem in this case. Also, these interesting cards by placing one of your Z energy into your drop. When your opponent swings into you, you can redirect that swing into any other card you have and then untapping one at the end of the battle, which is a very huge effect and can be used quite cheeky to untap one and then maybe use the one energy you just untap for Heroic Prospect, for another defending friends, or for whatever things you are trying to do or accomplish.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is exactly why you wanted to see it a couple of turns previously, Bastion,
Yes.
because with that extra energy being able to be used for those last 2 turns, you could have been shutting down Miguel's turn much quicker. You could have been playing those defensive pieces like the Goku Vegeta combo on the
Yes.
activate battle timing in your opponent's turn as well, re-establishing your board while your opponent's trying to clear it could be one of
Mm-hmm.
the most brutal things you can do in this game. And we see you actually just have to pass here. I
Really
was
interesting.
expecting a huge, huge turn there from Jesus, but it seems like after a couple of time destructions and time judgments, locking out those battle cards before they could swing, he's actually just kind of gassed out and has to go. You know what? I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to leave the energy up and hand it back over to Miguel.
Yeah, which is completely fair because, funnily enough, I think Miguel still struggles a lot with his hand size. I think there's just like 6 cards or something, while Jesus' hand size is really, really big. And whenever it's his turn and he has a Union Fusion already in play, he just pluses 2 with his leader swing. And now we see Miguel playing another Overrealm. So this means he need to discard one, and then your opponent warps one, maybe even being more hurtful to him. But I think maybe it's just because he wants that time judgment to be recycled so he doesn't run into the same trap from last turn, like swinging into your opponent, while he still has the SCR block on field and being able to block with that.
And I do wonder sometimes here, Bastion, as well, when we see EOS players kind of picking up the deck, there is something I'd describe as tunnel vision, where you know what the deck wants to do, you know it warps cards from your opponent's hand.
Yeah,
So you kind of go towards that play kind of automatically, and you're like,
yeah.
this is what the deck does, I'm warping cards out of your hand. Whereas actually, um, the strong EOS players look at it and go, actually, I can get away with discarding some cards early, but against a super aggressive deck like this, I need to start focusing on clearing this board. I need to start looking at a couple of removal options, whether in
Mm-hmm.
the Z deck, whether there's a couple of the main decked Overrealms as well for Eos. I think it's like the Lady in Black, something like that. You know, there's a couple of options they have for
Yep.
card removal in their deck. Whether he needs to pivot towards this rather than going after, you know, I've had to discard a card, you've had to discard a card, but I've got less cards than you, so I'm kind of losing out, and all I've done is put this 20k body on the board.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's a game of value in the end, right? And if you're just used to play the same play lines over and over again, you maybe don't get the feeling of value, but you're just there wondering after the game, okay, why did this work the last game and why didn't it work this game? So like constantly
Yeah.
questioning yourself, like what are optimal plays? What is the state of the current game, right? Also, like we see Evil Saiyan being played, warping one life. Did he even warp a battle card? I don't think he warped a battle card from his opponent's area, so I think he missed the timing to warp maybe the opponent's secret rare
Yeah,
as he
I don't think
continues to
he
play
could.
another card.
Oh, I see. He didn't warp one from the
From the
battle
battle
area
area,
as well.
exactly. I'm kind of confused as to why he didn't choose any card.
You see I think there's like the judge just off the screen there, kind of pointing out something. I wonder whether he's pointing out like, are you gonna warp a battle card or what, mate? But yeah, I don't think we see one. And remarkably, we're seeing the cards just getting picked up
That
here.
is
I wonder
interesting.
whether.
That
Yeah,
is
well, I
that is
would.
really interesting. Oh,
I
it's
think I
time
think
on the
the
round. It's time on the round. The time was actually
ah
over.
we got so engrossed we forgot about the time. I was just thinking that maybe the judge went, "Look, Jesus, you've played that Whis a bit too late, mate. It's turn 4. I'm afraid you're gonna have to pack it up."
Yeah.
But
You know it's over. You can't do anything here. Please, please, please just end it. I wanna
the
pee.
game.
I need to go to the toilet or something.
Listen, guys, I'm fed up of watching this. It's time to pack it up, guys. I'm done.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. So, Joe, do you need a short break or should we immediately continue with the next game?
Or let's give us 5 minutes.
Hmm.
I'm going to settle a very needy puppy next to me who you may have caught on the audio once in a
Yeah.
while, guys, having a little bit of a whine because he wants some treats from me. So I'm going to go for 5 minutes. I'm going to give him a couple of treats and then we're going to hop right back into this.
Nice. I can already spoil you with the next game because it's your beloved Green Boo. We finally see him back after the ban list playing against U7 Yellow Goku. So, guys, be sure to
I
not
think we
miss
can
that.
skip this one.
I'm honest. I don't know why people are not playing Green Boo anymore. I think part of the reason is the black S's for Vegito, but I'm really excited on how Green Boo actually is and how these players are standing. Like what their standings are. If we
Absolutely.
see another 0-3 versus a 0-3 game or 3-0 against 3-0, let's see. Will be interesting.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. See you after a short break. So, hello back, guys. We are here for one more game. I will probably. Oh shit! I have a little bit of my food still in my. Oh, whatever. We will probably do the rest on Wednesday, or maybe not the rest, but a few more games. Joe might be around, might not be around, but he's still around. Hello, Joe. Yeah. Maybe, maybe, maybe. Oh god, we're already getting into this stuff. So next game we're having actually is your favorite deck and also my favorite deck from the last season where I decided to not play but try out casting. So you could say that Green Boo is responsible for you enjoying this stream at the moment. Oh, sorry, I forgot to turn you on again. Fuck. So now the stream hurts you again. I still need to get comfortable at that. Yeah. So.
Am I here? Am I alive?
Yes, you are alive. You are alive. They thought you were dead in the corner somewhere. I murdered you.
They were like, oh, and yeah, and here's Joe, and there's just nothing, like deadly silence.
Laughing at something imaginary. They were like, oh god.
Bastion was muting my green boo slander.
Yeah.
We were basically just saying we should not be advertising the stream as a you're here enjoying the stream because of all of Bastion's reps watching Green Boo. That's not the flex we want it to be. But we did say before we went off air, Bastion, on the last game, that this could be quite interesting. And we're both quite interested in Green Boo in this format in BT31 because it is wildly underrepresented and still pretty bonkers as a deck as well.
Yeah, 100%.
But we're seeing. You mentioned as well about the Vegito SCR being like a pretty hard answer to what Boo wants to do, and I agree with you. I think that's probably why we've seen a downtick in how many people want to play Boo.
Yeah.
I think we've also seen a downtick in Boo because player fatigue. The big thing,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
we've said this in a couple of conversations, haven't we? But player fatigue with not only players having played it all of last format because it was the best deck, but green decks in general are really suffering from the play line loop, gameplay loop, if I can get my words out, of dormant potential unleashed, where
Yeah.
most green decks devolve into: do you draw dormant, and do you have a sticky blocker on the board that can block the first attack while you're dormant, give you the turn back, and give you a chance to win? It's it's not as a green player for many years. It's not actually that interesting, and like I think there's a lot more design space to be explored with
Yes.
with green in general, and I think you mentioned it in perhaps a video, a number of
Yeah.
videos back, Bastion. But like, it creates either a completely broken deck or a completely miserable deck, and no in between.
Yeah.
Where you're amazing at using dormant, and you're an aggressive deck like Boo, so you became the best deck in the format, or you're pretty miserable at using dormant and don't have too many blockers, so you end up like, I don't know, let's say Lucifer, and then you end up pretty naff, pretty underrepresented in the format. So it's a really feast and famine, and it can be quite exhausted being a green player, guys. At times, what can I say? We've had to go through the bunkers of BT16, Beerus, and Chomper to get a couple of morsels, and the big morsel we end up getting is this flipping green Boo deck.
Yeah, this is like hell. Also, what is really interesting about Boo, I really think it is about players' fatigue. Because if you think about it that way, yes, the deck lost some defensive capabilities with the ban of the blue Boo, therefore being more prone to your 4-drop Boos being warped, I think, especially because black is quite dominant. But the main thing of Boo still works. So if you go first, you can still apply pressure for 6 lives going second. Use yourself are on 6 lives. You have a dormant potentially live because you're drawing a lot of cards as well. So I don't see the deck losing a lot of aggressive potential, but more so defensive potential, which is interesting.
I totally agree as well. And I think there's certainly a point there in that, you can have your pieces warped very easily now. Your board can be wiped very easily. but Boo doesn't struggle rebuilding it. Like we found that last format as well, even in decks that could clear quite a few of the barrier threats. Um, they still could just, next turn, 3 or 4 energy, spit out 4 or 5 bodies. And particularly in a format where you are rewarded for being aggressive as well. Like, there's decks like Blue Bulma around that absolutely hate to be aggressed early. You have a great matchup there. There's decks like emerging, like Goku Black, that
Mm-hmm.
if you go first against them as Green Boo, you're going to have an absolute field day because you can
Yeah.
just go so aggro so quickly before they even get a chance to properly
Yes.
awaken and fill up their warp with unisons. Like, it's still got really good game, and it does require black decks to have to take a turn off effectively, like popping a Vegito on the board um, to try and like
Exactly.
kind of stem the bleeding a bit. So I'm with you. I'm very interested to see what Green Boo looks like, and perhaps maybe even this game will give us a bit of an idea of why hasn't it been top here? Why hasn't it been doing as well? Because it is a great deck. Is it that player fatigue, or is it just that it actually just ain't that good anymore?
Also interesting, really could see a resurgence of that deck because, as you mentioned, Blue Bulma has really problems with this deck. It's not only the aggression, but also the 4-drop that can take off or disable skills from your opponent. So basically, Bulma is not being able to block with her blockers that well anymore. So whenever I tested Green Boo against Bulma, it was not about the barrier blocker, but more so about the skill negation. If you think about Eos, you can do the same here. If they time Judgment one of your Union Absorb cards, it's really, really annoying for sure. But you can also play your whole play line and then X evolve the 8-drop Boo on top of that, because that is not a Union Absorb as far as I know. So go to the 6-drop directly, swing with the 6-drop, or directly go into the 8-drop Boo and apply pressure for a triple strike swing. And
Yeah,
same
and
also
that's
applies for other decks. I still think Green Boo has a good answer, also, like you said, against Goku Black.
Yeah, and you mentioned like the freezing effect, and what's so important about the freezing effect is against Bulma, for example, you don't let them just like fill their energy with Earthlings. You just freeze it so it can't block. So you're
Yeah.
not like a traditional deck that's just removing. You're going, you can't activate your skill to block, but you sit on the board, and I'm purposefully not going to ramp you, which is like the trap that you end up getting into the late game against Bulma, where you're like, I have to keep clearing the board, but when I clear the board, I give you 7 energy to like combo with out of your energy, and you have 7 energy to play with next turn. So I'm on the back foot anyway. And kind of by like shutting off blocker and playing around it, that's a much better way of managing.
Also, what you don't need to do as a Green Boo player anymore is like kill off your tokens to restand the blocker, because chances are really, really high that your opponent just kills the blocker immediately, which is kind of bad, right? But at the same time, you're keeping the token. So your opponent needs to remove another card, or else they will get confronted with a 15k swing for free as well. Also interesting here, as the chat mentions, we see a father-son battle here. Yer Silva playing against his son Tristan Silva. Very, very interesting.
Oh, they know how to pick the stream games over in Latin
Yeah, they do.
America. This is a proper brother versus brother,
Yeah.
heated rivalry, like coming at us here in round 4. I think that's just clever in it. Like they've set up the pairings to be this way and then put it on stream.
Yeah. Also, I want to give some highlights to Yellow U7, because if we think like, what did U7 get this set, right? I think about 2 cards. The first card being the Tien Shin Han, that is mostly played in launch. So basically, if you have 2, I think it's 2 or 3 cards in your combo area. I think 2 cards. If you have 2 cards in your combo area, you are able to play it if you have 3 or more energy. You draw 1 card off of him, and then you have a 20k dual attacker that each time he attacks, he creates a token, which is then being able to remove to clear one of your opponent's rest mode cards. So this is a lot of pressure, actually, for 1 card. And then the other card, which U7 Goku got, is a card that basically every deck got, which is the concept rare. Like, finally, a good unison U7 can play, especially if he gets battle card floodgated and stuff like that. Really, really cool.
Yeah, and it feels like Yellow Goku is that deck that doesn't die as well. It's another one of these,
Yeah.
like it's up there with Green Boo perhaps, and Red Vegeta comes to mind, the Warp Vegeta deck, where it's like it's such a generically good leader, and it has a small enough engine that any good yellow there, any good yellow card that pops up, anything that interacts with combo, like that Tien Shinhan that you mentioned, which is a fabulous card. It's so good.
Yeah.
Like Goku just keeps on getting better, even though it's incurred all these bans, it's had so many limits, it's lost some of its like most powerful pieces. This deck just is still here, it's still putting up the results, and it still gets to accumulate all these massively strong cards. So yeah, unless they completely just remove the leader from the game, they like ban it, like just expect to continue to see yellow
Yeah.
Goku just here.
100%. And this is something I love so much about the game because, first, we have a lot of interaction masters. We have these counter timings. We have these activate battle timings. We have like very specific phases. We're directly able to play cards and then swing with them. So there's no like exhaustion how we know it from other games. Also interesting that Green Boo is playing the healing pot now, being able to draw an additional card whenever he plays a card off of his drop. Very interesting.
Yeah, we don't see this in Green Boo very often whatsoever. Seeing that Green Boo blocker answered with the 4-drop Goku as well, resting that down.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Healing Pod has become, and I feel like this is a very Latin America thing as well. I've seen a lot of
Yeah.
I don't know why it is a Latin America thing, but you see a lot of Healing Pod decks, a lot of Healing Pod in lists. I'm thinking back to those old green Vegito lists that had the Healing Pod in it as well. So Latin America just kind of seeing a lot of value in this. Again, really old card. I think it's a BT 10, maybe even earlier card, Healing
Yeah.
Pod, and seeing it come in here as well. What cards is Boo reviving a lot of, which is going to get a lot of draws out of this Healing Pod here, Bastion?
He's not really reviving, but he's able to union absorb from drop, basically. And I think this is what he's going for. So with the 1-drop, he's able to play the 4-drop either from his deck or from his drop. So the idea is basically get one 4-drop at the drop in the drop, or a 6-drop as well, because you can do the same with absorption. And then play the 4-drop or the 6-drop out of your drop on top of the 4-drop or the 1-drop you already have in play, and therefore you then draw an additional card. However, we need to remember that Healing Pot is an extra card. So seeing additional copies of that card might get stuck in your hand. I mean, they're nice charge targets, but at the time you're using your super combos and you're just missing 5k to survive and you see the Healing Pot in your hand, that's a really taunting moment. As well as it's an investment, right? You're playing that card down for 1 energy, you're not immediately plussing, but you're minusing. So you need to play at least 2 cards from your drop to really, gain the effort of that card or gain the investment back.
Yeah, exactly that. I'm currently having some Vietnam style flashbacks from playing Go Bros back in the day and Gohan super comboing away a dead Demigra from hand to draw 2 and drawing 2 healing pods and realizing I was cooked. So
Yep.
I
This
am
is the
I
problem.
am not healing pod's strongest soldier for all the
No.
reasons you've listed there, Bastian. But
Yeah.
we're going to see if Tristan can change my mind, let's say.
I also like it a lot how whenever Bandai designs a deck that plays around cards from your drop, they either invent a new field card or they don't give you the energy or the timing to play Healing Pot. Thinking about the Green Revive Piccolo deck that comes with its own field card to kind of avoid the Revive thing taking over. Or thinking about the SS Blue Vegito deck or the SS Vegito deck, the green one, having its own Potara field card, right? So Bandai definitely knows this card and needs to design around it. And there we see the play from the drop. He's pointing at that, so he draws now 1 from the Healing Pot because he played the 4-drop out of his drop.
+1 from Healing Pod, Tristan. It's
Let's
working.
Go!
It's going. Let's do it.
He's going places.
We're gonna see a top 8 filled with Healing Pod.
Yes,
Green Boo after
please.
this. Unbelievable stuff.
Please.
Has anybody, and this is such a random thing to ask here, right? Has anyone ever used the activate main after set 10 of this card?
I don't think so. I don't even remember what it does, to be honest. I think it's just an overpriced play something from drop or something.
I've just pulled it up because I was on a tangent here. So for 2 green and 2 colorless energy, 4 energy total, place this card in the drop. Choose it to 1 battle card with energy cost of 4 or less from your drop area and play it.
That is so bad. That is so bad. Because most of the good 4-cost cards Usually have a permanent something like this card can't be played from any areas, but blah 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 blah. So chances are high that you're just playing like a really old 4 cost that would cost 4 anyway. So I don't see the value in that.
I feel this came out at like a similar time to the old Piccolo assimilated ability that was like a 4-drop with barrier that could draw a card and like, or
Yeah.
it was a 4-drop that could KO a barrier card. So
Oh
maybe
god.
that was like the oh my god, huge tap 4 moment. But let's face it, guys, 20 odd sets along, I can't see any 4-drops being massively useful
No.
to spend 4 energy to pull back with Healing Pod. So we will just see some more draws from Tristan.
Yeah, but basically, Lau, it's a game of value here. Yellow U7 Goku not being known for drawing or like plussing a lot of the time, but more so for recycling, right? So every swing is basically 25k. He draws off the first U7 card he combos, and then if he puts in another card, which is kind of fitting and he hasn't used the effect yet, he is able to then draw another card. And here's the Tianxin Han I talked about. So he
Amazing.
needs to combos 2, he draws 1, he plays the Tien, and now he can push 2 more times. And remember that whenever he combos with a card there as well, so the Tien swing is potentially like 35, 30k, depending on how many times he is comboing. I think it's 25k, no, 20k base. And like I said, whenever he attacks, he plays a multiform token in rest mode, I think. No, even in active mode. Oh my
In
god, it's
active
even
mode.
better. Holy shit. And meaning that Tristan hasn't found Dormant, right? Also interesting. Or did he activate it? No, he didn't. He didn't find it. So what he can do now is
No.
he plays the token, he swings with Tien, he plays the token, he forces his opponent to use cards from his hand, and then he kills the token off to kill the boost, like clearing the whole board. And now we can see him with 2 barrier blockers on the field, 2 of the very shiny, very nice looking Gokus. Also, the Tien needs to be removed next turn. A massive hand size from Jer Silva here. Playing the Goma, which is able at the end of the turn to resend one of your cards, probably the other blocker. So 2 barrier blockers, which is crazy. Or maybe he swings with that. He's considering it.
He's eyeing it up. He's thinking about it. What an insane call and what a like insane card this TN is here as well.
Yeah.
You were talking about it, and there's no better feeling than when you're talking about a card
Yeah.
just to see the guy put it down and use it in an insane way. We see Parunga here. I think you're about to call this one out, Bastian. Parunga coming down, tapping that last energy. This is going to be huge. That locks down any of the defensive capabilities that this yellow Goku deck has. Goes for the Gohan to be able to draw a card thanks to the Parunga forcing a discard hit. Another Gohan as well. Oh, you hate to see it. Tap 3.
Oh,
for Haru Haru.
what is
Untap
happening
all your
here?
energy. Oh my
This
god.
is crazy.
I've gone in a time warp. I've gone in a time capsule. I'm back in BT4 being terrorized by Haru Haru, Margin Twin. Untap all of that energy thanks to the energy marker. Parunga's been used, and you basically get all of your energy back.
Yes.
And you tapped your opponent out. This is a crazy turn.
This is crazy for everybody who does not know. Haru Haru has the effect when she's played for 3, you can hardcast her. If your opponent plays yellow or green, you're untapping 4. So basically, she's not in a free body, she is more than that. She gives you 1 additional energy you used earlier, making your turn even more crazy, being able to play Z Unison, Z Extras, new boss monsters, while also having another swing.
I tell you what, that Haru Haru would be a great target for the effective healing pod. It doesn't have to be a green card, it would be an amazing target for healing pod's other activate main effect. What an incredible turn. What an absolutely incredible turn. I've not seen a Haru Haru in a side deck for a long old time, but Tristan showing his dad here, this is how you side deck against yellow. This is how you do it. It's a crit swing on top of that as well. Goku on 5 life and a healthy amount of cards in hand. Also multiple barrier blockers as well. So reasonably safe, but there is going to be a ton of pressure coming in on this turn.
Also, interestingly enough, he swings with the 15k crit. Jared's just like, you know what, no negate. And then we suddenly see the Boo ability coming through, comboing 2 cards from under one of his Boos, making it a 25k crit swing, forcing Jared Silva to, I mean, combo 2, which is okay for him because he draws 2 for that. But he also comboed the Vegeta, resting the 4-drop Boo, which is kind of annoying. And this is also what I wanted to point out. I was thinking, like, what SCR is Tristan playing? The Boo SCR, while being very, very good, has a very horrible matchup into yellow because it doesn't have deflect. And if a well-timed counterplay comes into yellow for the Boo secret rare, it's kind of useless.
I think this is the nice thing about being able to explore different SCR options now for Tristan, is that in a wider format, Purunga is so versatile into so many different matchups. The Majin Buu SCR, fantastic card, but often used to navigate those green Buu mirror matches.
Yeah.
And now with far less of those around, Tristan's got the chance to go, right, I'm going to use Purunga now. And he doesn't actually get a huge amount of value from it that turn. We saw it come down and we got super excited, but he's actually had to pass with 2 energy up. He's not been able to make the most use of that. So he's using the Bupo negate here with those 2 energy, but 4 energy up does Goku have a response. And also, Yellow Goku's the kind of deck that kind of goes, I don't really mind here. Like, the TN's already got his value. He's going to be able to remove the board, and he's got 4 energy to play with as well, like, or even 5 energy.
I think 5 energy
to play with.
So this,
you don't mind playing defensively here.
Yeah, exactly. So this will also be a game of defense right now, right? So Jared will now be playing cards that either cycle through his deck, or he can use his ability to rest stuff, to gain advantage, to hand destruct your opponent, right? Especially with the 4-drop Goku, he says, like, please put this life in your Z energy, and then if you want, you can place a card from your hand into your life, which actually Tristan didn't do, because I think his hand size is really, really low, and I feel like the longer the game goes, the better for Jer. There's another barrier blocker, so going through, or like coming through the defenses of Jer would be very difficult, because I don't think there is a card in green that clears the opponent's board ignoring barrier, especially with the SCR already being played and revealed.
That is a hideous, hideous board from Yellow Goku here as well. 3 barrier blockers sat on the board, a Z extra joining them on top as well. The 8-drop Great Ape is also going to sit on the board, and I've just peeped a look at the hand, and there is a successor Gohan sat there as well. So if there's no clearance of this 8-drop, it immediately turns into a successor Gohan and taps in energy. Now, if there's a dormant available and he's still got his unison up, that's okay. But it might mean that if Tristan uses his energy a bit too aggressively this turn, he could sit and be just tapped out by that Gohan, and all of a sudden Goku's got a massive board, massive hand size. Realistically, he's got maybe 1 barrier removal per turn really here. He'd have the Solidarity and 8-drop to be able to clear maybe 2 of these guys, but you can see so far he's really struggled to clear this board.
Yeah, I don't think that's really possible at that point anymore. Like, still 2 energies open for Jer, like at least 1, 2 barrier blocks. Goma also has barrier. The 8-drop Ape has also barrier. And if I'm correct, Tenshinhan has also barrier. So 6 cards with barrier sitting on the board. And there's a Flying Nimbus already saying, like, you know what? You will just swing maybe 3 more times, because I'm sure you want to keep your unison, right? And there's just the leader swing and then potentially another swing. So really difficult here for Tristan. Really, really difficult.
Yeah. And he's just sat on 5 life, 12 to 14 cards in hand as well, and the Flying Nimbus just shutting down the turn. And I was just thinking, Bastian, you know what would help against a board of barrier cards? Maybe a Purunga.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
exactly.
the Purunga with its last effect could target 1 card and then get rid of everything else.
Yeah.
But the Purunga's already been used, and now Goku's just re-established this 6 body board of barrier blockers and barrier cards. And there's just really, like, Tristan's out of options that can readily clear up this entire board. So he's behind in cards in hand, same life, and behind in cards on board as well. It's looking rough for Boo. Are we discovering here why we haven't seen too much green Boo kicking around in the tournaments recently?
I mean, this Boo player gets punished now, and I think he knows it. So whenever a player grabs up randomly his Z deck to kind of look through the cards, this is a sign for me of desperation, of like cluelessness. Like, okay, maybe there is something I can use, but doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah, sorry, Tristan. There's no Purunga SCRZ battle card sat in that
No.
Z deck, ready to mop up all of these barrier cards. And Tien Shinhan, once again, I would say the MVP of this matchup so far, is once again coming in hit with a dormant potential
Ooh, by
and
discarding
discards
a
another
dormant.
copy.
We also saw a discard of a dormant with a leader swing, so 3 dormants are out, which means that Tristan doesn't want to play a long game anymore, or he just also has the 4th one in his hand. Because I don't think we have seen a single dormant yet, so I think this is the first one we've seen all game.
Yeah, that's the first one we've certainly seen activated, but already 3 dormants down, which, as we said at the beginning of the game, Bastion, you need as many dormants as you can get if you're going to be playing green in this format.
Yeah.
Um,
Also, really interesting card, also from the new set, originally made for Comison, is the Jakku. It can be played if your leader is yellow, you have 2 more energy, draw 1 and play this. He's deflect blocker, and then very interesting, you can take up to 2 lives from your to your hand if you want. But even better, when a card is moved from your life to another area, you can choose one of your opponent's battle cards at unison and switch it to rest mode. So potentially denying another block and making the swing really count into this dormant matchup.
Yeah, really. Again, another one of those yellow cards that's come out recently that slots really, really nicely into this Goku deck. We saw an attempt of the 6-drop Son Goku. Cheers turned into Strength, I think is the card name. But then Yari just pointed out, I'm swinging at your Unison. You can't play that here. But now the next swing, which seems to have gone towards Leader, yes, he does get the option to play that. And it can bin off Z Energy.
Exactly.
Strong card, but I imagine he's probably also looking over at this Goku Z Energy going, oh, well, which card do I pick? There's so many of them over there. Because obviously Goku has the effect to Z charge everything that's in the combo area. So, yeah, making a small dent in this Z Energy here.
Yeah, and then we see another burn basically from Jer. Tristan not even thinking about putting cards from his hand into his life because he's like, I'm so desperate. Please just put me down to 4 energy so maybe I can finally use my super combos and see new cards.
Yeah, I mean, there's a severe lack of 8-drop here as well for Tristan. Like, he definitely would have wanted to see that last turn if he had it to start chipping away at all these barrier battle cards, clogging up the board. But yeah, yet to see that 8-drop. Had to pass with 3 energy open last turn, which when you're an aggressive deck like Boo, you don't like to see that at all.
Yep. Really, really difficult here. Also, JF thinking about what to do because he used his 2 swings once with the, I think twice even with the TN, also clearing the whole board of Tristan again, leaving him no time to breathe. He just played the 6-drop Goku just for it getting rested again and then cleared again as well. And now he's playing the Tapion, locking down the Haru Haru. So it feels like Jared's just saying no constantly to his son. Maybe something they also do at home. I don't know that. Tristan looks very desperate, and you can see it in his face.
Yeah, that once again look to the Z deck. Surely there's an answer to this board in here. I don't think he's going to find it though. I don't think there's a Z card that reads wipe your opponent's board, ignoring barrier in green. Otherwise,
Yeah.
maybe Boo would be performing a bit better. We see the Koitsukai play, maybe just to cycle out a few more cards, but
Yeah.
an attempt to push through this turn. But I dare say those 2 energy open for Goku over there will represent one of the many floodgate abilities
Yeah.
open to yellow in this format. There's probably a Bardock, there's probably a Nimbus, and there might even be a Vegito counterplay on top of it as well.
I mean, everything would be totally fine and viable because every floodgate would hit Tristan massively. He doesn't have the ability to resend his leader. There are not many cards on his board which he can easily put into drop for Bardock. Flying Nimbus would just constantly shut him off, forcing him to play another Z Unison. Maybe the S is for Vegito that can swing at least twice. But as he's going to play the concept where he might want to do something different, like getting rid of the Marcus of Tapion, for example, very interesting choice. Then
There's that
evolving.
8-drop finally.
Yeah, I think the first one, right? I think this might also be the reason why this matchup was so drier, because obviously, if you can't find a single 8-drop Boo, the board on Jerry's side is just like growing and growing and growing. And maybe like the relief was finally from Tristan when he found his first copy of the 8-drop Boo.
Yeah, struggled to find Dormant early, struggled to find the 8-drop Boo to start tackling this board. I think 8-cost Margin Boo's probably on the same schedule as the 4-cost Whis Unison from the last game,
Yeah.
turning up far too late to the party
Yeah.
here. Nimbus is going to meet that triple strike
Ooh.
swing, and I think that is probably just turn over and potentially game over, with Tristan only really having potentially one dormant left for his turn, and even then, for life, if it's sequenced correctly by Yari, it could well just be over anyway.
Yeah, also like him using super combos that offensively, even if your opponent is like at what, 5 lives still, if I see that correctly, means that he's desperately looking for cards, trying to find the one answer he maybe has. Maybe another 8-drop Boo, maybe the Dormant, the one that is still available. I'm not sure.
I think he's hoping to find his second copy of the Purunga SCR at this point. I think that's the only thing that's getting him out of this board at the moment. Goes leader effect, goes his 25k, and probably a bit of desperation coming in now, thinking, please, just like desperation attacks where you go, I hope he just takes it. There's no reason for him to take it, but maybe he'll take it.
Yeah,
And he
exactly,
does. He
exactly.
does take it
He
here.
does take it, yeah, which is totally reasonable. I mean, at the moment, he does not have the bigger board developed, but I'm pretty sure that will soon be the case. There are 2 blockers on the board right now, 1 energy still open. Question is, does Tristan have the 4th copy of Dormant? And even if so, can Jerry still apply a little bit of pressure, maybe with like double strike swings? With the Gohan, he's able to rest the last energy, but there is still a Unison on board. Really interesting turn. He starts by switching the Goma to rest mode for the ape ability, resting or like negating the skills of the 4-drop, and then he just uses leader ability, switching probably a 4-drop to rest mode to also switch the other blocker Boo to rest mode, making 2 blockers to 0 blockers.
Yeah, and that is a crazy, crazy answer to this board that Boo put up. I think I want to highlight the point we made at the beginning, right, where Boo can still re-establish a board like crazy, and you're seeing that. Like Tristan had his board wiped last turn, and he was still able to put up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bodies was still on board, ready to go in this turn. But Goku's also gone, I don't care. I'm going to
Yeah,
negate a blocker, rest a blocker, and now the opening is just here for me to just hit you at life. Do you have another dormant? And even if you do, you're going to have to defend 4 life to stop yourself losing on this turn anyway. And then you're going to have to find a way of winning next turn through my entire board and the 4 life and the 12 odd cards in hand that I've got to go with it.
exactly. And I want to highlight once again how much value this TN got over the cast couple turns, constantly swinging at your opponent, killing everything that is in rest mode. It's such crazy value this card actually gives you.
Yeah, it's cleared up the board time and time again, just alone, even through being floodgated, even through the dormants. It's sat there and just gone, yep, I'm gonna like nuke 2 cards. I'm gonna get, but again, it's that accrued value. It's not been removed. So that TN has probably been, and I talk about card value quite a lot here as
Ooh.
well. Ooh, loses the freezer from hand. That's a huge hit. I don't know if it's gonna
Interesting.
save him.
But
But if there was
also,
a Gogeta coming down, it would be over even with the dormant.
yeah, I'm also thinking like Jer is on like what, 7 energy, so he could have just hardcasted it at that point, punishing like everything Tristan did in this turn. And as Tristan doesn't have any, I mean, if he would have dormanted, right, it would have been still 1 life away, swinging through. So very interesting that Jer decided against playing that card at the beginning of the turn. Maybe he just threw into it. I'm not sure. But maybe
I
he
think
also
maybe he
doesn't have the
wanted to
need
give
to
his
play
son a
it.
chance here, Bastian.
Yeah, maybe he also doesn't need to play because he's like, well, I still have 7 open energy. I didn't face a dormant yet, as Tristan is desperately using his super combos to maybe find it at some point.
The warp, another 8-drop Boo off the Paragus. They're finally turning up for Tristan, but
Yeah.
far, far too late to the party here. And you see a huge combo, a huge waste of cards from hand. Well, not a
Oh!
waste.
It's Haru Haru again. Here we go.
The Haru Haru, like father, like son.
Yes.
We've got another Haru Haru, but this time on Yari's side of the board, untapping all that energy. if he's got another copy of Frieza, he could just Frieza here anyway
Yeah.
after untapping it all.
I just love Latin America. I mean, what is this game alone? Like the Monaka game that really got me excited about the blue deck. This game where father and son decided to bring the same side deck card, playing it against each other. It's so great.
It's just amazing. And Haru Haru, just for those who might not be familiar with this card, is like if your opponent's leader is green or yellow, and obviously we've got a yellow versus green, so they both brought the exact same side deck card in against each other. And yeah, honestly, I feel like I'm getting to like reminisce here, Bastia. I feel like I'm getting back to my roots. I'm remembering BT4 or BT3 for when Haru Haru came out to begin with. My God, did I get Haru Haru so many times playing green back in the day, but what a wonderful showcase of some of these older cards coming back in here again from these players. Seeing a huge combo up here on this critical swing. A second TN added to the board as well. If that first one wasn't valuable enough, maybe we just try the second one out as well. And no dormant still. Unison removed, so even if Tristan draws that one, it's kind of over. Takes the
Yeah,
double strike here from the Gohan successor, this looks like. And now any of these attacks is going to be game here. TN,
exactly.
barrier protection as well. Tristan goes, look, there's that healing pod in hand. We
Yeah.
mentioned it earlier. I can't do anything with that, I'm
And I
afraid. I'm
think
just
I
going to
think
have to
look,
scoop it up.
I think there was even a second one. I think it was the third card to his left. There was another healing pot. At least it looked the
I,
same.
I genuinely wouldn't be surprised
Yeah.
if he used that last Paragus and just drew two of them and was like, you know what, I've lost anyway, warp the 8-drop boot, it's over.
It was a really fun match to watch. This was hilarious, and also like really showed that U7 is still around. And like I said before, this is why I love Masters. I mean, I myself am still playing a BT19 deck, and we are in a BT30 era already, which is crazy to think of.
I absolutely agree, and I think being able to revisit your old decks, the decks that you enjoyed playing, that you loved having on, um, it's a joy. You get to go back, you get to see all these like old cards these new cards that fit your old strategy. It's what keeps me invested and keeps me excited about Masters over and over again is like
Yeah.
I can go back to a deck that came out 10, 12 sets ago and I can keep on adding to it and I can make it better and it can still turn up and compete, and that is exactly what we're seeing here.
Exactly. It's not like whenever they do a spoiler season, it's not only about the new decks, but it's also about what kind of generic cards are in there. Will my pet deck finally be better because of this one totally not fitting to the archetype card, but that somehow still does so much for my deck? Will it finally happen? And this is what I really love about the game.
Absolutely. TN, obviously made for yellow launch, decided to make an appearance here with Universe 7 Goku and put in ample amount of work. And this is the thing. If you see a card that just generically says something like, I'm on, if you combo two cards, play it, look back at every deck that says something about comboing and drawing, and I guarantee that is going to be a wonderful card to put in your deck. I guarantee it's going to at least bump it up the tier list by one. Why not, eh?
Exactly. It's awesome. But that concludes also our Latin America casting today. Joe, it was a pleasure to do this with you. At least like the last two games. I had a lot of fun, to be honest.
Me too, Bastia. I think I could come and watch Latin America with you anytime, man. I think this has been an absolute blast. Thank you so much for having me on, and also a huge congratulations on the first stream as well. Like,
Thank you
guys,
very much.
whenever Bastion is streaming, hop in and watch him. Even if I'm not here, I know I'm a huge pull. What can I say? But like, come and watch these streams. They're amazing. Bastion is incredible at this. He's insightful. He's full of passion. This is worth watching. And I certainly know when I'm not jumping in to do the cast, I'll be watching along as well. And thank you guys in the chat as well. I've seen a few guys popping up, commenting on the game. Someone even called me handsome earlier as well. And
Yeah.
you can tell that my face isn't on the cast. Otherwise, they wouldn't be saying that. So I got to say thanks, guys, for stopping by, sharing a bit of love here. It's been a really good bit of fun.
Yeah. Then talk to you later. I think I will just do a little bit of Q&A with the chat here. Maybe if you're around, we can do the same on Wednesday, because on Wednesday I want to continue with that. But I think we already talked about it, and you will jump on spontaneously if you find time. then we.
Yeah, and I mean, I could also hop in and do a little Q&A as well on Wednesday if people wanted
Yeah,
it as well. I don't mind having a bit of a Q&A session with the chat if people wanna pick my brain about Masters or
yeah.
life in general. You're more than welcome to.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. So thank you, Joe, for turning up. I will make individual videos out of the stream as well if I find time to do so, and then I will definitely like also link you. And also, you have a YouTube channel, so maybe we can do a shared upload thing, basically, where it also pops up for everybody who is a subscriber of your channel to also keep content for you guys.
That would be wonderful. Yeah, I am just getting back on the content train. It is
Nice.
average at best at the moment, but with your love and support, everybody, it might be slightly above average.
Do you have a link for me? I can share it in chat right now for your YouTube channel.
Yeah,
In
I
case
do.
not
Let me go
everybody
and
have already subscribed to you, obviously, right?
I mean, if they haven't, then what have you guys been doing with your life? Come
Exactly.
on now.
Exactly.
But you're gonna get one now anyway.
Nice. Nice.
I've just recently uploaded a video where I talk over the finals
Yeah, I saw
of
that.
um Madrid. I'm getting my words out here. Yeah, I was going over Madrid. So if that's your bag, if you like a bit of this casting lark, then by all means, guys, come and check it out. I'm going to send this link over to you
Also, I mean,
now.
funnily enough, we can talk about how the content came to be. So basically, we had the same idea, right? Like recasting old streams, and we uploaded our videos on the same day, basically. Like I did the first game of Madrid, and you did the finals from Madrid. So we got into content, and we are like, you know what? Let's do that together at some point. And one day later, here we are. So it works.
I love it when you can just pick up an idea and just be like, "Yep, let's just do it.
Yeah.
Let's roll with it." I am such an ideas guy and not much of a doing guy that when someone is like, "Yeah, jump on my stream, let's do the thing," I'm like, "Yes, that is the direction I needed. I am
Nice.
here. I am available. I have a voice. I can do that."
Nice. Sounds awesome. Then thank you again, Joe, for also having me, because I mean, I'm just a little fish just starting, right? But you have done so many co-casts with Damien or other people that I'm more so flattered to have you here. I hope we can do this at one point again and talk to you soon.
I would love to, mate. Thank you so much for having me. You are more than welcome anytime.
Awesome. See you. Bye bye.
Bye, everybody.
So, that was a lovely first stream, right? I like that a lot, actually. We will definitely do this again. I can already tell you guys that I want to keep casting in the future as well. Also, like regionals happening, either being online or offline. I think with Bandai and stuff, it's just the matter of knowing you probably, and also like getting at you. Imagine a world stream of Damien, you, and Joe. I mean, that would be fire, obviously, and this would also be very smart from Bandai, right? So I talked to Joe in the breaks we had in between, and he was like, "Yeah, raw dogging a 13-hour stream is really difficult, right? Because you need to constantly entertain people. You don't want long breaks to happen inside the game, and when you already have another person, that's really good, right? Because you can see this very good in the first two games and in the third and fourth game. I don't need to talk constantly. In the first and second game, I tried to talk constantly, give you guys entertainment. When a judge call came in, I was trying to explain some rules to you, talking about other stuff. If you're two guys, it's way more chill because at some point you can stop talking, right? You can stop talking, you can listen to what the other person says, you can pick it up, or maybe talk about something completely different, talk about the game state, talk about cards that are currently played. And now, Bandai, listen to this. If you are 3 or 4 people, you can give some casters breaks in between, right? So you don't need to raw dog 13 hours of content right after each other. But what you could potentially do is, let's say you have 4 casters, right? You have 2 duos, basically, like 2 and 2, right? And you put them after each other, after each game, so that each duo has 1 game off between each game, if you know what I'm getting at. So duo 1 is doing the odd games, and duo 2 is doing the even games. So it's way cooler for the casters to keep up the hype, basically, because they have breaks, they can eat something, they can drink something, they can relax, they can just turn out their eyes for 5 minutes, or just like pull out the headphones. And I don't even know what I'm hearing anymore because I'm not listening to anything anyway. So they can just put off the earphones and then just listen to something, as my cat is bragging about me not feeding it. So this would be very smart from Bandai, right? Also, like, obviously, all of us casters, I think Damien does things very well. I'm not doing well. And maybe there are also things Joe does really well. I'm not doing well. So I feel like just having a duo, just doing castings together with people, I can learn a lot from them. And maybe they are kind of like also synergizing really well together, right? Creating like new interesting content. And I think it was really cool to do it with Joe. I was kind of like scared that we are somehow not matching with the energy and stuff. But in the end, it felt like really symbiotic there. And I felt that it worked out pretty well, to be honest. So whenever I made a break, Joe jumped in directly. Whenever Joe made a break, I jumped in directly. It felt very natural. And I didn't have the feeling that I needed to, you know, try to make it awkward or try to talk about unnecessary stuff. So it was just cool. It made a lot of fun, actually. So, like I said, we will definitely do this again on Wednesday. I think again at the same time. So like 5 p.m. European time to 9 p.m., maybe a little bit earlier, like today, European time, because I need to go to bed early to do not the job I was born for, because I like casting a lot, but to do the job that earns money, so I can do this. And I need to stand up early in the morning for that all the time. But it also means that I can get off work early and then start the stream early. Do you guys have any more wishes or any more questions to me personally? Because if not, I think that would be a perfect opportunity to end the stream right now and to grab myself some sparkling water, because I just have like non-sparkling water in here. And kind of cool down a little bit, take a shower, make myself bed ready, and stuff like that. So if there are no further questions, I would say this was a wonderful stream. Like I said, on Wednesday, we are doing the next parts. So we are now 3 hours and loud cars outside. We are now 3 hours and 18 minutes in. So this means we roughly had 2/3 before us. So this will most likely be 2 more streams and not 1. And I need to see at which day I can make the next one, maybe directly on Thursday, maybe on Friday. I have a lot of fun at this, and I'm not someone who says like, oh, I need stream days to be at regular dates, because I just don't care. I'd like to know if you've played cards at all before Masters. When I was in school, there was a PlayStation Portable. I played Yu-Gi-Oh! Back then, but I was crap. I didn't care about competitive play. I just loved my Dark Magician, and that's it. I played the PSP games. I think these were called the Tech Duel games, where you played the GX storyline and you were always running around with a partner. And this was basically 2 versus 2 duels. But I never played a competitive card game before, because first, it's really expensive to play a card game. And second, I always missed community. So, for example, I don't have any locals in the city where I'm living right now, right? Because for Masters, it's like very, very difficult to get locals. I got introduced to the game by a random thing. So I was going into like MediaMarkt or Saturn. I don't know if it's known worldwide. It's basically an electronic shop that also has some nerd stuff, for example, TCG packs. And my ex-girlfriend told me like, hey, you like Dragon Ball? As you might see, there are Dragon Balls, like there. Maybe you should get those cards if you like them. I'm like, yeah, but I won't play with them. And then I asked in my friend group, and they were like, no, let's try out the game. Because we sometimes play Magic, Commander, it's cool stuff. Let's try out that card game. And then I tried out the card game, and it was horrible at first, because we thought like a counter timing came after an activate battle timing. So we were basically like comboing all our cards from our hand in, and then we're like, no, I want to counter that attack, which is weird, right? But this is how Master starts. And then I kind of looked around in my local shop. Is there anyone else playing Masters? And there was indeed one guy playing Masters. And then he introduced me to the concept of playing online. And then I found a German group playing online, also having locals, also with pricing, interestingly enough. And then I went from there, like at some point, founding my own team together with another person from Germany. And now I basically left this team a couple of weeks ago because I was just not happy with the team and stuff. And now I'm at Team Fusion Force, like my first international team. And now I'm doing casting streams and I play a lot of regionals at the moment. I have 2 regional wins, something I would have never considered being possible when I started the hobby. So, yeah, it was a long way actually. And I think I'm playing since BT 18. And 3Han was my first deck I ever picked up and tried to make competitive. So yeah, you could. I don't know if I'm really BT 18 or BT 19. I think it was in January or February, right before BT 19 came out, when I joined the game, and I was playing the green Gotenks deck back then. So funnily enough, the biggest Dormant hater started with a green deck, and my friends had the red Pan one, and my other friend had the yellow one, which was the Ape deck, I think. And yeah, this is how I basically started playing Masters, and a lot has happened since then. So yeah, that's about that. I think there's a lot of more story time to be talked on other times, probably. Deck's still so good. I hope you mean 300 because it's an awesome deck. And I like to play it a lot. And I mean, in the last 3 regionals, I did 3 times a top 8 with that deck. So it still works. At least if your leader is generic to some point, you can always make it work if you put enough effort in. And I think this counts for every leader. Like, there could be a really old promo leader that suddenly gets good and tier 2 at least, just because of one random card. It's just like we as Masters don't have enough players, I feel like, to kind of discover all old decks. And obviously, when a new set comes out, most of us are excited to play new stuff, right? But since I'm more the guy, like also when I'm playing RPGs, for example, I'm always sticking to one character. I'm really bad at starting multiple game files and trying out different things. I'm always sticking to one thing. So I was very happy when I found out that Masters doesn't have like a list of cards getting out of the meta into the meta, and that I could just play the same deck all over again. I was really happy at that. Nowadays, I'm also trying out other decks. I'm a blue and black player, I would say. But I mean, my old reliable 3Han is still a good friend to this day. And it's a lot of fun to play. I think if the deck wouldn't be that fun to me, I would simply not play it. Because I could also play just Eos, for example, or Green Boo when that was around. But for me, it's more so that I need to have fun. Because it's still a hobby, right? It's not like I earn my money with the pricing or anything else, so I don't want to play decks that are not fun to me. I want to play a deck that still can contest. I won't play trash, where I think like I can do nothing here and I will lose every game. But I most likely won't pick the deck that is tier 0 or tier 1 at the moment, because for me, most likely it's not fun. Also, mirrors are not really fun to me, so I kind of don't I kind of don't pick decks that are currently like really played by everybody. Also interesting, I want to see how many players are playing Goku Black now, because it won an event. I think it's a tier 1 deck now. I don't think it's the best deck in the format, however, because it can easily be countered by giving you a lot of pushes. Also, green and yellow are kind of punishing it hard if they don't see Time Bullet, at least for yellow. Also, like red and black have many access to pushes right now. I think people just haven't figured out completely how to play against that yet. But I don't expect Goku Black to suddenly be 5 out of 8 times in top 8. Maybe in like a few weeks, this sequence get cutted out, and then I have a clown face on because every top deck is Goku Black now. But yeah, I just leave it as it is. So guys, that's it from the stream. I will now feed my cats, take a shower, go to bed. We see each other on Wednesday, same time. I don't think I'll have time to cut and upload the other videos, but feel free to just rewatch the stream. You can hop into every single game, and I think I will cut and upload the game separately once I have the time for that. and maybe on the weekend, maybe on a different time. I just want to focus on the streams for now because they are a lot of fun. Also, again, shout out to Joe for reaching out to me and joining me so spontaneously. I would have never figured that in my first stream I ever do on this channel, I would cast together with Joe Revel. Still an honor, to be honest, and crazy to think of. Yeah, that's it, guys. I wish you a wonderful evening, rest of the day, in whatever time zone you are, and we see each other in the next one. Bye, guys.